Welcome, jerks. Welcome Sunday night. I hope we're going to have fun tonight. Just relaxing. I know a lot of you probably need it right now because this is the big week. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, one of these days this week. Maybe Thursday, Friday, but it's going to be one of these days this week. We're going to find out what's going on with this Karen Reed verdict. And we're going to have a good idea probably even tomorrow. Even if there's no decision, we'll have kind of an idea maybe where it might be leaning. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I thought I turned off my speaker. Hold on one second. But we have a hopefully a fun show. I got my friend here. I haven't had him for a while. A lot of people know us for the 3Ms. It's not a 3M show tonight. It kind of is because of the lady who's coming up. She's got some M's in her name, Bianca. We're gonna have her on the show a little later tonight. But I'm starting off with my buddy Mazza Media because it's kind of a big part of the show. Like we just gave him an award that we had for him. We've been trying to coordinate it for many months to get it to him, and we just presented it to him the other day in front of the courthouse, and had a great day. And he's been along for the ride here, and big part of this show for a very long time now. Like I don't know how long, over a year. And during that time, we've had a lot of ups and downs, and he's been there. And been on the ride, and it's great to have him as a friend. He's loyal. He's a great host. People love him for good reason. I get excited every time I see him. I get excited every time people bring up his name. People are always like, "Where's Mazza? Where's Betero?" We don't have Betero tonight. Well, we're definitely gonna hit up Betero this week and get him on the show. Maybe tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see. One of these nights we'll definitely have Betero on the show. Hopefully soon. But tonight we have exclusive, independent, alone right now, a solo spot, something I just needed for myself. And I hope some of you want to hear from him. Mazza Media, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I second show for me today and third show for me in about a 24-hour period. I was on Calling All Beings with you last night to do the
Yeah,
fundraiser
we
for
raised
Aiden.
money.
Oh
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
We raised several $1,000s.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was great to get that money in for Aiden. And then today I was on LTL's show. I dropped in. Nan Gallagher was on there as well as Lauren DC and attorney Adam Terra, I believe is his last name. And we did a big show. Brian raised $11,000 for Karen Reed today.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing, Brian. That was an
Yeah.
early show tonight. Talk about a productive Sunday morning.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
dude, let's hear it for LTL and
Yeah.
LaFerio and Mazza and
Yeah.
Lauren and this new lawyer. We'll say his name again.
Adam, I think it's Adam Terror, attorney Adam Terror, I believe. I'm not sure if the last name is correct or not, but I know his name's Adam. So I just started to hear about him, and I just met him actually outside the courthouse on. I think that's my cat. Okay, I just met him outside the courthouse on Friday afternoon, actually, which was really cool. So me and him chatted for quite a bit, and it was a good day. I see Nan Gallagher is in the chat as well. She's going to be
Yeah.
word on the street. She's going to be heading northbound here
No
relatively
way.
soon with a potential Adam Tepper. That's the name, Tepper. There we go.
Really? Is she coming
Yeah,
up? Nan's coming back up, maybe?
Nan's coming back up. Yeah, my
That's the
cat's
rumor.
hijacked the table here.
I
Let me get
might
the
see
cat on
her.
camera. Let's get
I'm
him on
trying to
camera.
figure out what the
There
hell
he
my
is.
schedule is going to be. Yeah.
There he is.
Oh,
He's restless.
hi.
Yeah, he's restless.
Hi, honey. Hi,
Yeah,
honey. Hi,
yeah,
buddy.
he's good. My little buddy. Yeah,
I'm hoping to make it up there tomorrow. We'll see. I
yeah,
mean, it's hard with my schedule and the traffic. I
yeah.
hit it perfectly on Friday between the radio show, the Grace Curley, and hanging out with Howie Carr again
Mm-hmm.
on Friday. That was just friggin'
That
amazing.
must have
Anytime
been
you get to
awesome.
have like a friggin' dessert with Howie Carr,
Always the best.
How he's eating ice cream. I went for the sorbet. I mean,
Okay.
I love the mailroom manager, and I love
Mm-hmm.
Howie Carr, and I love Grace Curley. We
Yeah.
took the most prettiest. She made me look pretty. I don't know how she took the picture with my cracked phone
Yeah.
and made me look good with her. Like
Yeah.
someone said, it's a Beauty and the Beast photo, but I gotta say, Grace Curley, that was a great photo, and I love being on the Grace Curley show.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they accept me too. Like they know who
That's
I
awesome.
am, and it's just wild to be on the Howie Carr Network. I got to say that was an amazing Friday. And then I drive over to court And the first person I'm looking for the whole time is Mazza Media, and they're telling me he's here, he's here, he's here. And the first
I was
person
in
I
the.
see is first person I see is JFK and James, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Mazza's here. Go that way, go." So
I was
and I'm
huddled down in the bunker of the Registry of Deeds for about 20 to 30 minutes. I started feeling a little bit lightheaded and overheated for a while, so I decided to go inside and cool off, take some Tylenol, drink plenty of fluid. And then Jess Machado comes walking down, so me and her are hanging out. Then Aiden shows up, and we're all down at this table next to the vending machine, and we're debating, discussing the jury count and the jurors and who was selected and who not was selected. And Jess is, I don't want to rat her out, but we're trying to replay the video when they're selecting the jurors. But also, all me and another man, I'm not sure what his name is, but I recognize, we're all on our phones, like jotting down the numbers, and we're double checking it, and all live tweeting and everything. It was a sudden. I had a call, media call, to help out Jess. I'm like, Jess, do you want me to just oversee what you're doing here and touch base and kind of oversee the numbers and everything, just to make sure everything's official and all that. So it was pretty cool. I kind of got to help Jess Machado out on Friday morning, which was fun
for the day. That's
yeah
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah she's
Very
great.
good, very good service. And
Yeah
so then we ran into each other
yeah
after that. And we do want to show this, right? We got the video
let's
up.
do
You
it.
want to play this right now?
Let's do it.
Should I tell people what it is too?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't know, so we also have a lot of new people now, especially every time there's a Karen Reed trial, it's like inundation of new people. Over the last year or two, actually 2 years, really, we've covered the Karen Reed trial, and in the past we've done award shows based on our show, like the guest on the show, in different categories. And this year we basically had 3 different categories. And it was open to vote for anybody, like anybody could win any award basically, but you had to qualify based on where you live basically. And so basically the number one winner of course, that we still haven't given him his award. We're gonna have to give it to him eventually when we see him again, is attorney Mark Betterow. It was a poll. It's basically a viewer's choice. We had an awards open poll question. Who are your number one guests on the Young Jerks for the last year? We had so many of them. There was like 100 different people nominated. It's amazing. But the top number one vote getter was attorney Mark Betterow. He was the best guest of 2024 on the Young Jerks. Number 2 vote getter was the number 1 Massachusetts guest on the Young Jerks. And it was almost surprising to me because, Turtle Boy, he hasn't been on as many times on the show, let's say, but he is such a major figure and personality in this Free Karen Reed movement. I actually expected maybe he might win that one, but it was somebody else. It was the guy who's been here every week. People love him. And it's Mazza Media. You won this award, Best Massachusetts Guest 2024 in the Young Jerks, and you almost beat Betterow. I mean, it was you and Betterow were neck and neck. It was just like right at the end, and I was surprised. Like some people were just like, "I love Betterow, I love Turtle Boy, but I got Mazza. They love you." So I
couldn't believe that. I was expecting maybe I'd get about 1/4 or 1/5 the amount of votes as Mark Betterow. Then I was hearing it was basically like neck and neck for quite a while, and I think at some point I might have actually been leading if I'm not mistaken. Then he just kind of revved it up to 88 miles per hour. The next thing you know, he was gone. Like Marty McFly in the J.C. Penney parking lot,
Yeah,
see if these bastards can do 90
next to him though. It's pretty wild. And so Rita Lombardi won the 3rd award, which was the best Canton guest, because we had a lot of guests from Canton, Massachusetts, and I always wanted to feature the town of Canton, especially those residents. And that was competitive too. John Como, the Jerks curtain. He took second place. There were votes for Kathleen. I'm pretty sure there were votes for Dennis Sweeney and his wife. There were a number of people from Canton who got a lot of votes here too. So that was wild to see. So Rita Lombardi, we actually mailed her award. She got it right away, and she was very excited to get hers. You got yours this weekend. We're gonna play the video. You want to just play the video now, man?
Play it up. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's set this one up. So this is the presentation of Mazza's award. Here we go.
This is what I got, Mazza. Yeah. Mazza, you got to open it now. All right.
Mike, thank you so much. It's got a little bit of weight to it here. All right, we got an award here. I mean, this makes me an award-winning journalist. Whoa! Let me turn it backwards here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I think I was like, I don't want to. Oh, all right, here we go. Whoa! All right. Here. Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of that too. Oh, there we are. Wow. Congrats, bro. Wow. That is awesome. Like, thank you so much, man. I appreciate this.
That's
Best
like
Massachusetts guest 2024.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much. Put this down the right way. Mike, appreciate that big time, man. I appreciate everything you've all the times you had me on the show. I appreciate that, man. That is awesome. Well deserved. Yeah. Wow. Mike, you might be on mute.
Thank you. Did you see the ladies in the back? They were enjoying that. They definitely there was an audience for it. It's a nice award, right? It's crystal.
Oh, it's
crystal.
very nice. Oh, this is amazing. I couldn't believe when I first held the thing. I actually said in that video, I couldn't believe how much it weighed. I was like, all right, this is it's I'm figuring maybe maybe a pound at best, a nice plaque. And I opened this thing and it's beautiful. Oh, it's a beautiful trophy for sure. So I don't know how well people can see it on with the reflection of the screen there, but they saw it on the video anyways. But no, Mike, thank you so much for this. That was awesome, and just it means a lot to me, to have the opportunity to come on this program and also to be voted by the viewers as well. And I just appreciate how much everyone appreciated my presence on this channel, my level of participation. And it's been a long road. It really has. And whether or not it's appearances on this show or other shows, it's been a lot of focus and dedication, and really outside of work, it's been a full-on dedication to this. It's been a secondary lifestyle, really, in terms of fighting for Karen Reed, raising money for Karen Reed, showing up on a lot of shows, and 2 trials worth of programming here, and then all the shows in between. So, Mike, I can't thank you enough, and also to this audience that voted me best Massachusetts guest. That means a lot to me as well. I greatly appreciate it. I was someone that just randomly called in this show one time with a little bit outraged about the arrest of Turtle Boy 2 days after Christmas, about a year and a half ago. And next thing I know, you're like, "Hey, do you want to come back on the show again?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then after that, it became a camera debacle for the longest time, and I realized I couldn't appear on camera, and I was just a talking little dot like this. And
for that.
yeah,
You got famous. Even
I know. Yeah, it was
Karen's
crazy.
parents thought it
Yeah,
was
Janet
cute.
loved it. Yeah.
I think Bettero's mom liked that too. They thought it was cute. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Those are the days. But I never would have imagined this thing would have gone to a second trial, and a lot of us would be outside in Dedham once again, waiting for a second jury watch, a second verdict watch, like all of us were out on Friday. It was definitely something else. It's I'm actually I got butterflies tonight. I actually, before I even did the show, I had some butterflies. I was outside quite a bit today, a lot of yard work. I got a lot of good stuff done, in between the shows I was on, but I'm kind of, I'm not going to say I'm nervous. I kind of got the butterflies because, I really thought same thing Thursday night. Maybe it's over on Friday. And now it's like, well, is this going to be a Monday thing, or is this going to suddenly escalate like it did last time into a 3 or 4 or 5 day affair where this jury is deliberating to no end? And those are the things that I begin to wonder right now. But I feel, I know Dan Gallagher and me on Twitter Dan Gallagher had responded to one of my posts, and I made a comment. I go, I don't know. I got a really good feeling. And she, posted agreeing on that as well. And Nan, I had some doubts about certain things, and I think me and Nan were on a show a couple of days before that. She was kind of, saying to me why she thought that this jury was going to go in the right direction and really deliver the right verdict. And I hope for the best. I really do. One thing I'm very happy about, Mike, is that the lottery of who were the alternates out of the 18 jurors was done in front of that courtroom. I thought that was a major victory for Karen Reed and her defense team to have that done before that court. Last time, it was very much behind the scenes, just like the NBA. You know, they like 1984 when Patrick Ewing and the Knicks won the lottery, and there was a lot of controversy in the NBA about that. The fact that the New York Knicks got Patrick Ewing. You know, a lot of people don't trust the NBA lottery, and when it comes to what happened last year, where you had multiple jurors that were prime pro Karen Reed choices, and suddenly they were basically, you know, dumped in as alternates, and never really had a chance to speak their mind and have any kind of factoring into deciding, you know, Karen Reed's fate last year. And then ultimately it ended up in a mistrial slash hung jury slash mistrial. And here we are again. So I'm happy with the transparency. I think that was kind of a portion of victory right there for Karen Reed's team. They needed that. And you know, someone's saying it right now in the comments, and they're right. And then, of course, there's the whole verdict slip right now, which I was reviewing a little bit more in depth last night.
We should talk about that in a
Sure.
second. And I just want to note that we're going to put up what you were referencing.
Yeah.
What Aiden, you've compiled a list
Yep.
of where you think each juror stands based on what Aiden, how Aiden feels about them, because Aiden's been in the court a lot and viewed these folks. And we're not giving any information about them. We're not doing anything that we're not supposed to do. We're doing exactly what the court is okay with. You know, we can talk about this stuff. Also, like, I want to just say, like, oh geez, I was going to lose my track of thought again. I had something I want to get in there. What were you just talking about? So you're talking about the verdict slips, and what was the other thing?
The lottery.
Oh, the jury, the charging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the charging documents. Yep.
Yes, that's the thing. Because I think and especially like the timing of I just want to set people's expectations a little bit. For me, I feel like it could be very likely that Monday afternoon we get a great jury result that we're very happy about, but it easily could go to like Tuesday afternoon after lunch, you know, and they could come back with what we want. But because of these charging documents, I think there's a good chance that one or two or three people who are a little hung up are going to go for this lesser offense, the OUI. And I think that's probably where this is headed, is that she's going to be not guilty on the major charges and possibly found guilty on one of the lesser charges, just to get everyone on board to get out of there. And that may take a little more time, like, just because there's going to be jockeying, you know, people who don't want to budge. Some people probably are going to be not guilty across the board no matter what, right? And there might be some people who are on the other side. So it could take a little time. But I also think the longer it goes, if you start to see it Thursday, Friday, I believe you're looking at a hung jury, unless it's just one or two people that they're trying to flip to not guilty, you know? So this could go long. It could go short. I just think we all just need to take deep breaths about it and just know that eventually we're going to find out what's going on. And I think the biggest thing we know, I feel like, that we can count on is that she's not going to be found guilty. The worst is a second hung jury. And that sounds like it sucks, but you know what? It doesn't, because it's a win for Karen Reed. And to think that they would even try to retry her again, good luck to that, you know? So I think we're looking in good shape. That's why I feel optimistic. Look at the odds, look at the likely outcomes. I just laid them all out. What do you think, Mazza, about all, like, where this jury could come out? What do you think about all that?
Well, I'd like to see the jury have this all done by tomorrow. I definitely would, like anybody. And honestly, I was hoping they were going to have it done by Friday, but they had very limited time to really even get going. I mean, they probably were just starting to do a little bit of a round robin or a straw poll or something to decide, what they wanted to do. Now, I think they're going to take some time tomorrow, no question about it. But I think that a lot of people that say, like, maybe by lunchtime on Monday or by lunchtime on Tuesday, I think, that mid-afternoon Monday to mid-afternoon Tuesday is the sweet spot. I think if we walk out of there Tuesday, now all of a sudden we could definitely find this case and this jury deliberation going in a similar direction as last year's. But I'll say this right now, it's too early to tell right now. This is very early. It's like election night. It's a few states go to a few candidates early on election night, but it's too early to call an election. It's kind of like that right now. It's too early. They had about an hour and a half. What's that?
This is like the straw poll that they do in New Hampshire at that one town with Franconia and Notch. Like, and the thing is, like you said,
people?
like they may not have even done, like you said, the prelim vote. I have a feeling they didn't. Usually from what I hear, is most juries will read everything again, like especially
Right.
the jury instructions and the charging documents. They might even read that out loud.
Yeah.
They might take time to absorb it, and so that's, I think, what is usually spent like the first few hours. So I have a
Yeah.
feeling they may not even have done an initial vote, like
Right.
So we'll see. Anything
Right.
right
I mean,
now.
roughly
It's
they were in
so
there by
early.
3 o'clock. By 4:30, she sent them home. She would plan to keep them by 5:30, as we all know, but then she cut that short. Why that decision was altered, I don't know, but maybe she just wanted to get on with the weekend. It's really uncommon to keep them there that late. What's interesting too is they usually, sometimes in the state, I've heard they keep juries over the weekend and have them come in on Saturday. Now there was a lot of talk outside the Registry of Deeds among supporters that I had talked to that were starting to kind of, there was rumblings of that. Then the rumor kind of dissipated when she just sent them home, and there was no announcement on Saturday. Mike, you're on mute. Clear.
No, I'm not. Am I having some tech issues again?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Perfectly. Yeah.
All right, cool. Um,
They
yeah,
said
I just think
people saying the jury wanted to go home for the weekend.
that's
Yeah,
what
that
I'm
makes
saying.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, these are younger jury too. Think about
Yeah.
that.
Right.
They want to go home and party.
Right. Well,
This
it's
is
better to
nice
have a
though,
full
man.
day. Yeah. Well, I bet it's tough to be, if you're a juror, to have to start. Okay, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. Time to start deliberating. It's like, you at that point, you've been sitting there all day. You've listened to closing arguments. You've listened to, the jury. The jury instructions have been provided to you by the judge. By that point, it's like, why not just send them home at that point and come in on Mondays, start fresh, and they can really have a nice 8-hour block to get their initial process going and make it, start making decisions here and, thumbing through the details about how they want to rule this thing.
So let's talk about this jury instruction, because even the charging documents. First of all, do you think that it's confusing? I do, obviously. What do you think?
It is confusing. Page 2 is really confusing as well. Once again, it says, in the above entitled case, we, the jury, say that the defendant is 1, not guilty, or 2, guilty of offense as charged, leaving the scene of an accident. So it's just, once again, it's confusing. It's one of those things where you look at it, and this is I at times felt like I could figure out that verdict slip last year, and every single time I started to feel like I could, something in my brain would get tripped up. I'd restart it again, go through it again, feel like I figured it out again, and then boom. It's simple if she's just not guilty across the board, but they start to get hung up on stuff. That's what I think cost them last time. It's just very confusing. There's 5 counts on this thing that they've put on even number 5 here, guilty of lesser included offense, operating under the influence of alcohol. Then under that, there's 2 sub check marks, operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, and or operate a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or percent or greater. So I think that the operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor might be, if they do check off anything as guilty, where they check that box off. I would say this to this is my opinion here, but if the jury is doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is defining reasonable doubt, the blood alcohol content level is not truly determined. There is no information to show what her blood alcohol was or was not that night. So I don't think on that 5th charge there that they can even check off that second box, because there's no, they didn't give her a breathalyzer test at the time that this allegedly happened. They did nothing of the sort. So I think that the only thing I'm concerned of is that if they just say, well, she operated under the influence of alcohol, but again, what evidence do they have of how intoxicated she was or she was not when she was driving home from CF McCarthy's or
Bunch
the
of
waterfall?
witnesses
Yeah,
that say she was fine.
yeah.
They have a bunch of
Karina,
witnesses that
yeah,
say that she
Karina,
was fine.
right,
Yeah,
right. Karina,
even Jen McCabe and them didn't
right,
seem to indicate, or any of the cops,
right,
nobody indicated that she was drunk. Like,
right,
it's not hard to figure out when someone's drunk.
right. And the thing is as much as I know she wasn't drunk, I really couldn't tell you how many of those drinks she drank, what her blood alcohol level
Yeah.
really was. And if I can't sit here as someone like many other people who's followed this case for a long time and tell you her blood alcohol level was this, which the cops can't do, and the town of Canton, which the cops can't do at the state police level, nobody can tell you truly what it is without estimating it. Estimates are not good enough. You cannot consider somebody guilty off an estimate. Well, we believe that she might have been this drunk. That's not sufficient information. That's nothing concrete. It's reasonable doubt.
The best evidence they have against her, especially for the drunk driving part, in my opinion. And I don't look at this as the most reliable, like when people admit crimes and things or say things, but it's her own words, her own testimony. That's why I think she definitely should have not spoken as much, but in a way, maybe that's what the defense is banking on. Like Hayden put up a great poll last night. What would you, if you were Karen Reed right now, what would you rather do? Would you rather get convicted of OUI right now, which is misdemeanor, or would you rather get a hung jury? And I have to feel like she'd probably be happier with an OUI, because that lets her move on with her life. That probably lets her get her license. You usually lose it for like 1 year. She's already lost it for a couple of years, so she'd get her license back. I think pretty damn quickly.
This is just in the comments too. If you get an OUI, you can appeal that. I know it does hold up to 2.5 years in prison, but I think that's what kind of the attitude is like, well, if you get an OUI, well, whatever, we'll appeal it. And if we have to fight it, then fine. And that's it.
I know that people think the judge is going to throw the book at her 2.5 years. I'm not buying that. I don't believe Judge Canoni would, because I think she knows that it would really look bad. And if she did throw the book at her, I think throwing the book at her is like throwing 60 days in jail, not 2.5 years. You know what I mean? Like, because that is extreme. Most people who get an OUI, we know what it is. It's a 1-year probation period, loss of license, I think 6 months to a year. You go to the alcohol program. They might make you blow into a key thing when you use your car, but that's it. They don't throw people in jail unless you hurt somebody, kill somebody. And that's what she's not guilty on, if she's found not guilty. So I'm not buying it. I don't think the judge is going to throw 2.5 years at her if she's found not guilty on all those charges. What do you think, Mazza? You think she would? Like, would?
Like I said, I don't know what this judge is going to do or not do. But I don't know what a ruling would be on the OUI. I don't know. They could also, can they not consider the fact that she's basically been unable to drive for over 3 years now?
Yeah.
Factor that into the fact that, well, you're not allowed to, you're on probation from driving or whatever for a year. Isn't that not only time already served? As I saw someone post that in the comments a moment ago. But yeah, it's the more I think about it, I understand why so many people that are Karen Reed supporters are so positive about, hey, if it's an OUI, whoop-de-doo, we can handle that. What you can't handle is her being charged with murder, vehicular manslaughter, all those categories. So I am, like I said, this jury, I'm praying that they're going to do the right thing and make the right decisions here. It's cut and dry. Nobody really knows what her blood alcohol level was anyways. It's estimated. There's no evidence to support that she actually ran over anybody. There's no evidence to even support that John was still standing there. There is Apple Health data that shows that he walked inside the house, though, walked up 3 flights of stairs. There's evidence that the phone was moving after an alleged incident. There's evidence of that, though. That's all reasonable doubt. And like I said, the sooner this is over, the better. I just hope that this jury is smart enough. And hopefully there's no member of the jury that's a little bit of an anchor in terms of weighing down the jury and kind of bringing up categories or topics of discussion that kind of create, well, maybe she's guilty, when, most of the group's kind of like, well, I don't think she is guilty. That's kind of the stuff I worry about. But I think at this point, this is where it gets a little nerve-wracking. It's kind of relieving. The direct examinations, the cross-examinations for both sides are over now. It's out of the defense's hands. It's out of the prosecution's hands. Closing arguments are done. Now it's a 12-man and woman jury sitting behind closed doors, chalking it up with each other, figuring out what the charges, what they're going to rule, and then it's out of our hands. And then we have nothing to do but sit here now and wait it out and pray that they come up with the right decision. And last year, the jury, to their credit, still ruled correctly, in my opinion, on two of those counts. And those counts should have been dropped last year. And they weren't. And what shocked me the most is even when this thing went to the Supreme Court, the appellate court, they decided to not drop those charges after jurors had come forward and said, we declared her not guilty on 2 or 3 of those accounts. This whole trial should have been all about count 2 or the lessers this time around. And it seems like this particular case is probably going to come down to the same thing. It seems to be a heavy discussion here among us free Karen Reed folks. Would you rather prefer a mistrial? Would you rather prefer an OUI? I tell you right now, I have to side with the people after thinking about this carefully over the past 24 hours, that I think I'd much rather see Karen Reed get dinged with an OUI, appeal it, fight it, whatever they got to do from there, but get these murder charges off the books. And God help her if the jury gets hung on the OUI charge, and then this judge with this verdict slip decides to play the same game that she played a year ago by declaring this whole case a mistrial. And then they have to basically fight this whole thing all over again. And I wonder if that was the strategy last year, was to force money out of Karen Reed's pockets. I had a troll today say, watch your wallet, Mazza.
Let's just stop right there.
Sure.
brought up such a good point.
Yeah.
What happens if the jury does the whole thing where they all agree she's not guilty of murder? They don't check off the right boxes on it, and they just get hung up on they do the same thing again. Just if that happens again, people are gonna lose their shit. Like, I feel like people are on edge right now. I do. I've so this judge, if she pulls this shit again, I mean, what do they expect from people? How much bullshit do they think people are going to take before they actually do lose their fucking shit?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. And I don't know how our movement's going to be reacting, but it's going to hit pretty hard if all of a sudden we learn again that, well, guess what? Once again, it's the same situation. This is what I was really concerned about. There were people that were kind of contesting, respectfully contesting, not in a hostile way, respectfully contesting one of my posts last week, which is what I thought it was going to be 55% probability of a mistrial, hung jury, rigged, fixed, and a 45% chance of a not guilty. And I put down a 0% chance of guilty. I eventually, after a day or two, started to feel a lot more confident, definitely after the charging documents. And then I put it up to 80% not guilty and 20% fixed and rigged with a mistrial. I'm holding at 20%. I'm not changing those numbers. I decided that I'm going to lock in at that number. I can't go under 20%. I just can't. Even after seeing the lottery and the jury done before us, even though the jury was controversial last year, that verdict slip was the biggest problem. It was the primary problem. It probably might not have been an issue if more favorable jurors got in, but that was a major issue. And I'm looking at the language of this verdict slip, especially number one, not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense. So I'm guessing if they check off number one, that they don't have to check off the rest of these 2, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, that's what I start to think when I look at this thing. And then the second page is like, oh, that's the leaving the scene of the accident resulting in death. Guilt, not guilty. So I guess what they have to do is they have to check off box number one if she's not guilty of the offense charged or any included offense. Then, if they don't check off box number one, they're then supposed to. So, for example, number 2, if they find her guilty of count 2, manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, check one or both of the following. So it's a subcategory here. So I think that if she's not guilty on all counts, they have to check off the first number 1 box. Then if they do find her guilty, they don't check off box number 1. They then check off any one of 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then if they check off any of those that have a subcategory, so if they check off number 2, then they got to be more specific. Is she guilty of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol and or manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle with the blood alcohol level of 0.08% or greater? So I think that's how this this works. I think that's probably the process. I'll look for people to agree. If you see people already getting confused already,
That's the problem.
yeah,
That's the
that is the
problem.
problem. That is the problem.
That's why the defense had what they wanted, and the judge was like, "Do you have any legal precedent to back that up, Mr.
Yeah,
Jackson? You got
yeah,
any?" Like, come on, lady, just
yeah.
do the right thing.
Right,
Just do what's right. Make it easy. Get with the times.
right.
It's just
Dan
like you
Gallagher
should have
agreed.
every charge, and yeah, it should be
Yeah,
each charge should just be guilty, not guilty.
right,
It's it.
right.
That's all you need. It's not this fucking hard.
Mike, I'm gonna present the verdict slip
Like
here in
someone
just a
said,
moment.
it's even confusing to the lawyers. I mean, that's the
Yeah,
point.
it is.
We talk to these
It is.
lawyers. They're even confused. They're like, this
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. Why are they doing it this way?
yeah. I'm going to present this verdict slip, Mike. I don't know if you want to present this on the screen, but
You can
I
put
think
it.
I got to figure it out here. Hopefully. All right,
No,
there it
that's
is.
not
And then,
the video.
yep,
Get rid
yeah,
of the video first. Okay.
yeah, share
Verdict
that.
flip. There it
Okay, there we
is.
go. So right there at the top, it's and Dan Gallagher just confirmed that I'm accurate on my assessment of this. So it says in the above entitled case, we the jury find that the defendant is, so number one, not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included charges. So you see how number one is not guilty. Then you look at 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they're all guilty. So what I think number one means is my assessment, and Nan thankfully backed this up. And Nan, if you don't want to, if you could just one more time, if I'm wrong, let me know. But I think what that means is if they check off box number one, that means not guilty across the board. So if they sit there and they say, well, we think she's guilty of anything 2 through 5, and then there's also a second page to this, then they check off the respective boxes. So they check off 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever they think, plus what's on the second page. And then from there, so say if they check off box number 2, right, guilty of offense as charged, then they go down to the subcategorical sections just under it that's centered. Manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, manslaughter, boom, boom, boom. So then they check off. So like, okay, we think she's guilty of one subcategory under 2. So they check off 2. And then under 2, it says check 1 or both of the following. It is confusing, but I think that this jury, God willing, can figure out this. I mean, I'm looking at this thing for only a few moments and I'm able to kind of figure it out. But then I think so again, if she's guilty of something under 2, they would check off 2, and then they check off 1 or both of what's under that. Then for 3, it's just a straight up involuntary manslaughter. Check this if guilty. Number 4, is she guilty of something here? If she is, check off 1 or both of what's under there. Same thing with 5. Is she guilty of 5? Check off that or thing. Yeah, and it is confusing. It could be a lot more simplistic where every section has a not guilty or guilty, but for some reason, this judge likes her verdict slips to have a not guilty right at the top that's across the board. But I think that's what this is, how this verdict slip is flowing. It's not guilty on 1 if she's not guilty on anything. And then if she's not guilty across the board, then what is she guilty on? And then they start to go through this list and start to check it off, including what's on page 2 as well, which is this is the leaving the scene of the accident. Now, what's interesting about this, I'm going to share this one. 1 second. Let me get this for you, Mike. Verdict slip 2. Let me get this on the screen. Now, what I like about verdict slip 2 better is I think that because everybody's saying it's confusing, and they're right, it is. Like you have to decipher it. So verdict slip 2 is now able to be presented. And then on verdict 2, I think this is how this whole thing should look. Now, see how this isn't even numbered at all? It's leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death, and it's simply guilty or not guilty or guilty. In my opinion, and I've been arguing this for a year about last year, someone has vertigo after my description. Don't we all? Every single charge should be not guilty or guilty categorically, instead of what they're doing where it's like not guilty on 1 and then everything else says guilty, check them off as you see them. And then it comes down to this page and it's not guilty or guilty. Technically, every single charge should really look how page 2 looks. It should be like a true or false test, yes or no, true or false. That's how it should be. It should not be this dazzling where the point is where I'm explaining this. And some people are probably getting it in the chat and some people are not. But the thing is, these folks in the comments that are commenting right now are what you'd call your everyday audience, which is no different than your jury, which is everyday people, where some people might get it, some people may not. And then some people may
The
get some
younger
of it.
ones.
Right.
I'm
Right.
worried about the younger ones, especially.
Yeah.
Will they get it? We have our other guest here. She's in the green room. I'm gonna bring her up right now. Oh, Charlie. Now Charlie's crying for treats
Is he
over here.
crying? Yeah.
You
My
hear him?
cat
Can you
visited.
hear that
I
at
can't
all?
hear him. No, no, I can't.
Be good, Charlie. Be good. Behave. I gave him a couple treats and now he's acting up. I shouldn't have given him the treats. But because especially we have this great guest here. We got Mazza Media obviously here. We're also going to bring up another guest. She has a channel on YouTube. She's also on X and I think some other places I'm forgetting, but I follow her on X and YouTube. She does some great videos. I love the body reading, body language uh, videos that she has. She definitely check out her channel, Bianca. Bianca with three M's. Bianca 3 M's, as I call her. Be good, Charlie. Back on the show. Let's bring her back up. Hey, Bianca, how you doing tonight?
Hi guys, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Mike and Mazza, because I've just been feeling so hopeful and like full of joy since Friday after I watched the Alan Jackson's closing. I don't know what it was, watching the defense team and just getting like flooded, with emotion to get to this point. Watching them talk about the jury being the last line of defense that I just wanted to share with somebody, and it's like not everybody understands what we feel. And I'm kind of jealous that you guys are able to be there outside of the court a little bit, but that's awesome. And I want to congratulate Mazza for the award.
Thank you.
Mazza has an amazing personality and amazing voice. I gotta say, sexy voice, and everybody likes to listen to Mazza. He well deserved. Congratulations. So thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me
Yeah,
again.
great voice. The first time he called in, I was blown away. And then the girlfriend, who's like, she's done radio forever, she's like, "What's up with that voice?" That's what
Smooth.
I'm like. We gotta get him back on. He's like perfect and
Yeah.
just amazing. I want to thank you, Bianca, for being here today. We've got some stuff because you definitely focus on body language and communication and kind of the hidden things that people are saying through their bodies that they don't even mean to say, the subliminals. We're going to look at some jury stuff from Aiden Cardi, some reporting on what this jury actually looks like and his like
Awesome.
viewing the jury. And I'm kind of interested to get your take on that. I also want to talk to you tonight about some of the recent witnesses because there's been a lot that's happened since then, and you're really good at that. You're really good at breaking it down. So I'm excited to have you both here, and that's why I'm doing the show tonight because it's like what you said. It's like I just felt like I needed a night to be with my people, just like we did Friday. It was great to be out with the people, but this is for everybody else tonight too. Like
Yeah.
that can't be there. We all need to just keep the faith here. Stay
Send
positive.
positive vibes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And reach out to your people that understand. Don't talk to the people that don't understand because that will be always frustrating. Talk to people that you need to reach out to. You know who they are. Um, so let's do that. Let's bring up this first piece, which I'm loving.
Perfect.
This is Mazza Media brought this up from Aiden Carney. You want to go through this, Mazza, and then I'll get Bianca's take on it.
Sure. This is a filtered graph. So originally I had 18 lines for 18 jurors. I condensed it simply down to the jurors that are selected. So you see the green boxes in the center there, juror selected check mark. This means that these are the 12 jurors that were officially selected. Now, I had 4 categories on my original graph. This is based on Turtle Boy's post that he made the other day. So Turtle Boy made a post and he listed out the jurors that he had thought were visibly favorable, other jurors that he liked, jurors that he wasn't sure of, and then at least one juror that was not selected out of the 12 that had seemed to have maybe an unfavorable reaction to Alan Jackson. So what I did was I just kind of condensed this into basically a Google Sheets document and color coded it. So green means visibly favorable, yellow means Turtle Boy like. So not necessarily the person maybe not visibly favorable, but again, they seem like they were probably to some degree based on Aiden's post receptive, engaged to some degree. And then orange means unknown position. So very quickly here, to go over visibly favorable, 5 of these 12 jurors, according to Aiden, came up on his post, and there were 6 overall. So 5 of those 6 jurors that he found visibly favorable ended up being one of the 12, which is a very good thing. And then beyond that, 5 more. Aiden had a very favorable view of himself. Whether or not they were visibly favorable wasn't necessarily remarked, but he did say that he did like these particular jurors. So this is right in line with what I was hoping was going to happen walking out of Friday. And the number came out perfectly, in my opinion, because I wanted at least 10 jurors that would be somewhat, positive to Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And this by no means means that these jurors are all going to actually feel the way we hope they feel, but it does tell you, based on Aiden, who sat in that court multiple times throughout the trial, how he felt. And I think your green jurors there, visibly favorable, 5 of them, I mean, that tells you a big story right there. And then if Aiden feels pretty confident, and I know Nan Gallagher's seen the jury, and she feels very confident about a lot of these jurors as well. And this information from Aiden seems to very much reflect that, which is great. So again, you're looking at 10 out of the 12 jurors right now that Turtle Boy, and I'm sure Nan Gallagher agrees on her comments that she's made on other shows, that there you go. So realistically, you're looking at maybe 2 wild card jurors, which is fine, which is typically what I'd consider probably good for Karen, is that if they're unknown, well, they're not visibly unfavorable, which I would have marked in red. And there was only 1 juror based on Aiden's post that I had flagged as red because of basically the way he described that juror, which was juror number 6. And that was the visibly unfavorable juror. So there were 3 jurors overall that were unknown positions. And 2 of the 3 made this jury list, which is fine, because I feel like, again, just as long as those greens and yellows go in favor of Karen, I hope in best case, this is all best case scenario. This is all speculation. This is by no means hype, but I will say that this looks pretty positive. And I was looking at Aiden's post and I said, I'd like to condense this for myself into a visual chart so I can and I want to color code it. And that way I can visually see what I think is going to happen here. And I thought this might be helpful for a lot of us that are wondering about this jury. And I thought Aiden gave us quite a bit of good information. I also thought Jess Machado on her X page has provided quite a bit of definition on these jurors as well in a thread that she had. I actually meant to expand that, but I did not have the time on hand to really kind of delve into Jess's portion and kind of maybe get more expansive. But I feel like she's been pretty positive about this jury as well. But I'll tell you, if this is not ever seeing these jurors myself this time around, if someone said to me, well, here's what people are saying that are reputable free Karen Read people, and this is how they feel about the jury, that's a great starting position for Karen, because you don't want to see like 6 or 7 of them in orange or 2 or 3 of them in red, where it's like, oh my goodness, they might be unfavorable or they might be an unknown position and you don't know. You want to see your greens and yellows, come up on a graph like this. So I'm very, like I said, I wanted to get visual representation of Aiden's post just to see visual imagery, I should say, of his post, just to get a feel for this, how it looked, and realistically what he saw in court. I was very, very much so pleased with how this all came. I'm feeling positive. I am. I think that this is going to be hopefully a jury that can get this. And I think that favorability goes a long way. If you can have a jury that is feeling positive about her and whatever. Mike, I have another one I just shared. If you wouldn't mind, this
Mazza,
is the expanded.
I just
Go ahead,
want to
Mike.
say
Sorry.
something.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I got to say, our show, especially the chat, is mostly majority women, and it's moderated by women who I put in charge, so that I don't have to do it. They rule. I love them.
Go
And
women.
they just gave a warning out. So I just got to say to the guys, because I love the dudes, but don't post creepy shit about guests. Like, I know that we have an attractive women on the show, and some of you guys can't help yourself. So don't do that. Just pretend your mom's watching you, because I don't want to listen to you later complain to me about my moderators, because they're in charge. If you're being creepy, they will warn you. They will time you out, just don't do it. Just be cool. I get sometimes we have a pretty woman on the show. All right, guys.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Now I'm a little scared.
It happens. It just happens every time we like, with certain guests. The dudes sometimes I feel like don't know how to control themselves. Unfortunately, on the internet, they think they can get away with it. Usually, they can. They can say the stuff on Twitter and X, but in my chat, we don't do that. With the ladies in the chat don't like it, and they won't let you do it. So don't put the ladies in the chat in that position. They shouldn't even have to say anything. All right, enough of
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
I
Can I ask you
like you,
something,
dude.
Mazza, since
Yes.
you're explaining this? So from these 18, 12 were selected, correct?
12 of the 18, that is correct.
Okay. And then what was that breakdown? How many? Can you repeat that, please, for me? Because I didn't absorb it completely. How many were from the 12 visibly favorable, unknown, turtle boy likes,
Sure.
etc.?
Sure. So 5 of them were visibly favorable, and that's out of an original 6. So Aiden in his post had basically designated 5 of the 6 as visibly favorable for Karen. And then so green is basically the highest level you can possibly get based on. So what I did was I took how he explained it, and I kind of took a little bit of my way of explaining it. I kind of combined the two into one graph. So it's kind of, that's how I did it. Then yellow's like a second tier. It's like the second rating. It's like, well, they're not visibly favorable, but Turtle Boy likes them. It means Turtle Boy feels good about them. He likes what he's seeing out of them. He feels good, about them, which means it's kind of like a second level. It means they're not like what you'd probably say like a home run juror, but probably maybe a base hitter second, a secondary juror that could probably be, they're not visibly favorable, but they more than likely could be favorable. Then we go to the orange level, which is the third level. This is the great unknown. This is where you really couldn't tell. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. And then
Okay.
Right. Yep. And there's 2 of those. So only
But
2 of the 12.
none that were like unfavorable, visibly unfavorable.
Right.
None of that.
Right.
Okay. Because I just wanted to make a point real quick regarding this, because I haven't had the chance to look at the jury, obviously, but it is, we underestimate how much of the nonverbal communication that actually passes on to people, right? They say that over 90% of our communication is nonverbal. So for this jury to sit there for like a month and not be able to have a reaction, even be admonished for having reactions by the judge, who always has reactions with her face. Everybody in the court is having reactions. If you just observe people in the audience, the court reporter, everybody's having reactions constantly. So the jury is sitting there, and you got Aiden watching them, you got everybody watching them, and Aiden is getting that feeling, that confirmation, like, okay, these people are favorable, like these people are going with the flow, they're going with the evidence. They may be having some type of negative reaction when they're listening to Hank, for example. I have a terrible reaction when I have to listen to Hank, because he has so much anger and he's just so aggressive and he does little personal attacks, and I don't respect that. And when you have the witnesses from the defense testifying and they're more professional, they're just not combative, and you have a theme of the combative witness from the prosecution, the people watching the jury, they can feel, they get, there's an effect on the people. I was even talking about, I don't know if you guys noticed or not. I noticed the little things, but when Alan Jackson was doing the closing statement, behind him there was, the family, Karen Reed's mom, dad, and then another lady I don't know, and then 2 ladies with like dark hair. And I was screaming, I'm like, guys, you need better facial expressions. You're not outraged. And I think they're law students or something, or they're interns for the defense. But I was like, when Alan Jackson's talking, you guys have to be showing, your body language has to be going with what he's saying. And they're just like this. But that is very important. So I'm good. I love this, and I'm very positive about it, because I believe in this. I believe that we do communicate nonverbally, and that's probably what Turtle Boy is feeling. That's why he's feeling this way. So I believe this. That's great stuff.
What about this? One of the jurors was picked as an alternate. Apparently, was the one that took the most notes. Apparently, did you hear this, Mazza?
I did, yeah. Mike, could you do me a quick favor and put up the second image that I prepared? This is going to have the unselected jurors included. So this is this. So this is the full
Oh.
list. So this list includes all. Actually, does this say seven? Oh, 18's under the tracker at the bottom.
Did I
Okay,
take the ticker off for a second? I
yeah,
think
the
it did.
tickers. Yeah, tickers in the way. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
So this list. So it's juror number 17, Mike. That was the one that was taking the most notes, and that Aiden designated. Just to explain this to everybody, juror selected column check mark mean green check mark means they got in. Red X means they were not selected. Excuse me, they were selected as an alternate, roughly. And then you see the visibly unfavorable come up for juror number 6. That's according to Aiden. But yeah, juror number 17, that was the one taking all the notes, to my understanding. And Aiden had designated that juror as a very positive, he liked that juror.
Do you know if he was taking notes during both sides, or he was taking more notes when like Arca was testifying or anything like that? Did you hear anything about that?
I do not. I don't have
Okay.
information. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, everybody learns differently, right? Some people can just watch stuff and they'll remember. I love taking notes. I like to journal because when I write it down, even if I don't read it ever again, I just absorb. I remember, oh, I wrote this down. So
Yeah,
that's great that they were taking
yeah.
notes.
Yeah, when you're writing, like I feel like I absorb it even if I don't look at it later. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact
Yep.
by writing it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's important to remember little things. I had not watched what's his name, Hank Brennan's closing statement until today when I was doing a live earlier, and I started watching it. I was trying to like postpone because it really bothers me to listen to him, but I have to. So I was listening to him, and like that's something I would have written down because I went through the verdict slips too, just to like try to understand, which is very confusing. I was listening to Mazza explaining, and it is confusing. I don't know why they don't make it simpler, but that's besides the point. And during
Right.
his closing statement, he's saying, we're not here to prove intent. We're not here to prove that she intended to murder him. We're here to prove that she intended to drive her car. And I'm like, wait. The charge for second degree murder specifically says that she had intent. Like you would have to ask those questions. Did she have intent? Not premeditation. That she had intent to murder. So even during his closing statement, I mean, all the time he's lying, right? And hello, potentially criminal. Even during his closing statement, he is, well, especially he's lying. He lied so much. And he could just say whatever he wanted during the closing statement because it's not evidence. But I just felt like, dude, you're just gaslighting me. Like, I'm not gonna feel like I'm the crazy one. I watched the trial and he was all over the place. I've had some people in my chat saying, oh, I was worried about Hank. I thought he did a great job at closing, and I did not feel that way at all. I haven't finished yet. I still have like 20 minutes to finish, but I felt like he was all over the place. And I know I have a bias, but I do try to see both sides, and I do try to think about how the jury that is leaning towards guilty would be seeing this evidence. I was pointing out, you guys talked about the videos of Karen Reed being the worst piece of evidence, and I agree, of her own statements because it is being taken out of context and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Alan Jackson made a great point of explaining after Dr. Rosa explained about the trauma and why she would be saying these things. And if somebody really, okay, so if I'm a girlfriend and I really have an intent to murder my boyfriend, okay, then is it more likely the next day I would be like, maybe I did it. Maybe it was me. Maybe I hit him. Or is if I had that intent and I did it, or would I be like, what the heck happened? Did he got hit by a plow? Maybe I hit him. What happened? Would I be like going crazy trying to figure it out? So it's just very confusing and unknown. And that's how I felt about Brennan, just like gaslighting, confusing the jury, just throwing things, not finishing a specific
What do you think the jury's feeling? Because that's the big question for all of us. Like, considering what Mazza put out tonight,
mhm.
and based on Turtle Boy's reporting here,
Mm.
how do you feel the jury's reading Hank Brennan and these witnesses? How do you think that's coming across, especially Hank Brennan? Let's start with Hank Brennan because you're the body reading expert, and I'm just wondering how he comes across to somebody
The
who doesn't
body
have all these
reading
thoughts.
expert. I read
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, I'll say that I believe this trial was way better. I mean, it was more concise, it was more organized on both sides. And I have a few things that I would tweak. If I was the defense, I would have called Proctor, Higgins, and Albert, and I will explain why. And I will link this to the jury's perception. Okay. I did a video explaining, and I did some research how most people make decisions based on emotional appeal, even though we want to think, is this me? This noise? Oh, I hope not.
That's my
E-
background.
Oh, okay. Even though we want to think, oh, we're so intellectual, we'll analyze the evidence and everybody's going to understand the evidence, we heavily rely on our emotional appeal. So when the prosecution started bringing all those clips of Karen Reed, and just they are relying so heavily on that for their case, I think that what that did was create an emotional reaction on the jury. Like, look at her, she's even questioning, aren't we questioning? Maybe we should question it if it was her. So that produces an emotional reaction. In order to combat that, I believe the defense could have and should have brought those three guys in, because they produce an opposite reaction. When you listen to, and I would do a very concise questioning of them, just like, Proctor, read this, and what else does it say? What else does it say? What else? What is your position now? Were you fired? What is the reason? Thank you. Bye. Just so that they can see his facial expressions when he's reading his own words. Also with Brian Albert, explain that you got rid of the dog, the house, the phone, that you never went outside, that you were trained EMT. What happened? Did you call Brian Higgins in the middle of the night? That's it. Brian Higgins, did you drive to a military base? Did you get rid of your SIM card? Blah 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 blah. What were you doing in the middle of the night at the police station? Just to create that emotional reaction. So I don't know how the jury, of course, we don't know how the jury is feeling, but I do believe that produces a strong reaction in people when they see emotion, facial expressions, body language. And that is what the prosecution gave them through the videos of Karen Reed. Thankfully, Dr. Russell, amazing, was able to just insert her explanation about trauma there that makes so much sense, But Hank himself is very unlikable. Like I said before, I don't respect him. I don't respect people who go after personal attacks. I didn't know him at all, right? And all the experience we had was with Lolly, and Lolly was annoying because he kept repeating very slow, very low volume. And we all also have that. Like, we all also identify with people that talk like us, that have the same type of like speed and tone and everything. And when you hear Lolly, you're like, oh my God, please, I have to put in like 3 times speed so I can get through it. So I was excited to have Brandon. I was like, oh, we got a new person. He actually speaks fast enough, and okay, I can hear him. But then he started to show his character and how low he's willing to go. Unfortunately, the jury didn't get to see a lot of it, right? They didn't get to see a lot of it, but they saw enough of personal attacks, of not being able to focus on the evidence when he was doing cross-examinations, and also on the tag team that he has with the judge. And the judge just like blatantly sustain. No, you, Brennan, I'll allow it. I'll allow it. Yeah, speculate, do whatever. Yeah, what was the Dr. Wolf thinking about, why was Dr. Wolf using this app? Dr. Rachel is like, I don't know what he's thinking, but the judge's like, come on, speculate for us. You can do it. Come on. Brennan's asking you a question. You answer. I'll allow it. And that to me was like blatant as well. So I think the jury picked up on that, on the judge and Brennan, and on the personal attacks. And if they are kind of like me, they would be like, that's just low. Like, why don't you talk about the test? Like, your guy came here, painted his arm blue, went like this on the tail light, and that was his test. And he's not even trying to reconstruct the accident. The accident reconstructionist is not trying to reconstruct the accident. And then these guys come here, show us a bunch of different tests at a bunch of different speeds, and you're asking him about his wife or about the ham sandwich. Like, really? You know,
Right.
I don't respect that. And I want to give the jury the benefit of the doubt and think they're smart people. They're young people, so they're probably in school and or very young in the workforce, you know. And I don't know. For me, this trial was way more, for me, it made it way more clear how a collision was not possible, because it was emphasized the size of the SUV, the speed, the type of damage. And I'm like 100% now, you know, in the
I
in
mean,
the
it made
in
us
the
more convinced, didn't it? Didn't it
more
made it like
convinced. In the first trial, I was like, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Like, I
yeah.
don't know. Like, I don't know. It's possible this happened or that happened. But of course, with all the other witnesses, I was like, oh, there's a lot of shady stuff, reasonable doubt. But this trial, after all the doctors, I was like, no way an SUV could run somebody over in reverse at 24 miles an hour, holding a glass, and all his little bones, nothing would have happened. So hopefully that got through the jury, you know. Sorry for talking so long, guys. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
That was phenomenal. Mazza, what do you think about Bianca's breakdown? Because that was
Yeah.
like reminding me of Spicy Mazza, actually, except from like a little more feminine Mazza. I hope that's okay. But
A
she
All
little.
was
right.
phenomenal. She was unbelievable. What did you think about all her breakdown here?
Right. So there's a point I want to talk about, which is the broken arm in the ARCA analysis. There was someone else that actually had done a reenactment on X. I can't remember who they were, but a couple of weeks before ARCA had posted had the ability to present what they had done in court. Someone had posted a video, and they had made mention that the arm would have not only been, injured, but broken arm, broken wrist, a broken, dislocated elbow, perhaps, whatever. And I had never, even all this time I've talked about this case, I never once considered that I thought the arm would actually be able to be broken. I thought it would just get hit really bad, knocked out of the way, and bruised. But when ARCA displayed their version of it, it validated that other video I had seen recently. And I actually had the thought, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was like, I believe in Karen Reed's innocence more today than I ever have before because of this. And I didn't think it was even possible for me to believe in Karen Reed's innocence any more than I already have. But I was shocked when the taillight shattered. I was like, oh boy. And then, I was kind of like, oh boy. And then, then kind of from there, it's like, well, the taillight shattered, but it chased the arm. It didn't penetrate the sleeve. It didn't cut the sleeve. And if it doesn't cut the sleeve, then it can't possibly create wounds on the arm. So even what that proves to me at this point is the taillight's a write-off at that point. Who cares? It doesn't matter now. The shattered taillight doesn't matter if it happened or not. Now that's off the board. It comes down to the wounds on the arm. And if there's not that taillight shattering, doesn't have the ability to rip the sleeve. And if it can't rip the sleeve, then it can't create wounds on the arm. And it certainly can't create puncture wounds on the arm. And even at that, these wounds are pattern-based. It's obvious that they're a combination of teeth and claw marks. And there's no way shattered taillight would be able to simulate that or emulate that when most of it just goes all off into the place and probably wouldn't have been enough taillight, even if it could potentially rip a shirt and puncture an arm. There wasn't going to be enough taillight to pull that off. And it would have had to have been very, very big pieces of taillight. So that takes it right back to the dog wounds. Then you throw in the fact that it's like, well, the arm also would have broken as well. The wrist would have broken as well. And Alan Jackson in his closing arguments the other day made sure to bring this up. He's like, this would have been there. And not only that, where's the bruising? Someone just said, where's the road rash? None of this exists. That's all reasonable doubt. There's no way for this prosecution to preach to that jury and say, hey, guess what? Karen Reed did it. Well, where's the bruising? Where's the broken elbow, the broken wrist? Where's where's anything else? And then they had to, talk about and admit that they had cut holes into the hoodie themselves, or their lab technician or whatever had done that. They had to actually admit that. For me, that's it right there. That's it right there. It's like, that's game over. And that's why I think so many people are believing that this jury will go through this pretty quickly, because, you don't see the defense out there saying, oh, geez, well, we made a mistake. We have to apologize right before the jury about this. There is no mistake. If you admit to making a mistake before the jury and before that courtroom, or you spent a half an hour, misrepresenting evidence. Like earlier today, I put up a graph and people are like, oh, Mazza, that particular juror wasn't selected. Well, okay, let me go back, grab the data, run it again. Great, fine. I'm not doing that. I'm doing that on a YouTube show. I'm not on my show trying to be a prosecutor and put someone behind bars here. So if I make a little mistake and people correct me, no problem. We all make mistakes. But when you're a prosecutor, you can't make any mistakes. If you're presenting a case against someone in court that you're presenting as absolute fact and you're trying to say that there is no reasonable doubt, you can't afford to make mistakes. Because if you're saying all this stuff and now you're admitting to us that you're wrong, well, I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Prosecutor, what else are you wrong about? And if you're wrong about this, then you're telling us essentially that there is reasonable doubt and that Karen Reed should be able to walk right out that door and go to a restaurant of her choice that evening and have a great dinner with her family and friends and celebrate being innocent for the rest of her life. But that's not what happened here. You're a prosecutor. You're in this courtroom. You're trying to tell us about how Karen Reed is so bad and she needs to go to jail for killing somebody. And then you're like, oh, by the way, yeah, I misrepresented that. I'm sorry. And Robert Alessi gets up there and says, this guy up, calls him out. And it's just,
yeah, and it's next level too when it's intentionally fault. Like they know. It's one thing if you, like you said, Mazza, you make a mistake. Us on these shows, we make a mistake. Even Hank Brennan making a mistake in court, totally fine, as long as you try to correct it when you find out about it. As long whether it's a show or court, but when same thing for the show or the court, when you knowingly present false information and you're lying to people, whether it's on a show like ours or in court. That's the problem. Like you should never do that. And it seems like Hank Brennan has done that on more than one occasion. That's what I feel like. That's what I'm watching. So it's just
Did he have to apologize to in front of the jury about this leave thing or no? Because I didn't finish his closing statement. Did he have to tell the jury that he misrepresented the hoodie?
I don't think he touched that, did he?
No,
I'm trying to remember. Did he even touch
I know
that?
they had to make it. Alessi had to present the hoodie. Alessi had the gloves on. He was presenting the hoodie, and they admitted that they had to admit, well, to some degree, it had to be represented to the jury that the particular holes in the hoodie were not from the crime scene. But
did he do that in closing?
But it wasn't something I recall Hank Brennan doing. No, but
the judge said very quickly. The judge said, "Oh, by the way, okay, let's go." That's it.
Yeah.
But she didn't say, "Listen, the prosecutor came here and represented this was a hoodie, and that was not a true statement." Mr. Brennan was aware from the beginning that this was done by the crime lab, and unfortunately, he came here and misrepresented this to you. But of course, the judge would never say that. But that is what he did. He was aware of it. He cut, like Alessi said, he cut Dr. Wolf off when he was about to respond. So the size of the response from the judge should have been accordingly to what he did, right? But it wasn't. It was very small. And then she was like, I'm not even going to address this today. I'm not even going to look at it. And when Alan Jackson challenged Brennan at closing and said something about, and the prosecutor will probably explain, or maybe if he doesn't explain, that says a lot more to you guys. Brennan, I think when he came back, he responded something about, I'm not going to comment on what the other attorney said or something. It's just so like he's just so unethical, and it doesn't seem to bother him. That's just not, I don't like that at all.
He knows it's his superpower. He can just
he can do whatever in that court, right?
Yeah, he'll go there. This is why, get away with it, like you said.
Yeah, this is why it's so important for Karen Reed's defense team to have which they've done. This is why it was so important for them to do what they did, to rephrase that, is to hold Brennan accountable for anything that he's misrepresenting or anything that he's saying that's not accurate. And that's why, they did that every single time. If he made a mistake or did something and misrepresented something, they brought it up. They made sure everybody knew about it. And that's the great work of the defense, is to not only do better against each witness than the prosecution, but to also hold the prosecution accountable and say, hey, I think you misrepresented some stuff there. Hey, there's a hoodie. Those holes weren't caused at the crime scene. Those are things that are very, very important, and they got that job done. And my thoughts towards the jury is I hope that they're paying attention to that, and I hope that they don't forget that, and that's factored into their decision. I know sometimes the judge will say, I want you to ignore that. Jurors disregard that. Well, it's like they say in media, no comment is a comment. You can be someone that's questioned something by the media and they say, Mr. So-and-so, can you answer this question for us? No comment, please. No comment, no comment. Well, no comment is a comment. And it's like anything, you can say jurors disregard that all you want, but that doesn't stop the jurors from seeing those things and still saying, I know the judge told me to disregard this and that perhaps, but I do remember that. It's, all this stuff that's seen before the jury, whether you're told to disregard it or not, they're seeing it. And that's probably weighing in their opinion. There is no rewind button in the court of law, in my opinion. I think whatever those jurors formulate as their opinion is based on a full range of subject matter that they see.
Yeah, and they pay more, and they may pay more attention to it, right? Especially when she sustains the same subject. Why can't he answer what his scientific opinion is? Sustain. But like you were saying, Mazza, I think the defense is doing a phenomenal job of keeping the record straight, because they know the judge is going to rule against them. They know the judge will do anything, to keep the evidence from coming in, to keep the truths from coming in. She limits phrase by phrase with what Dr. Lapasada is allowed to say or not. Lapasada. And she's just gonna obviously rule against them, but they're making a record. They're like, no, we're gonna, but we need to keep talking, judge. And she's like, no, I already know, but we need to make the record, judge.
And she's like, your rights are reserved.
Yeah, your rights are reserved. We don't need to listen from you. And even when they were talking about the hoodie, which was a blatant misrepresentation from Brennan, her first reaction was, I didn't hear you objecting to it. So she doesn't care about the truth. She doesn't care about justice. Right. She doesn't care that Brennan is having that type of conduct in her courtroom. She doesn't care. So she's just like, okay, how can I save the prosecution now? Well, you didn't object. I'm actually doing another one of those little point. Yeah, like she just goes
She's defending the prosecution at every step. It's
instead of being like, that's true, Brennan, what the hell are you doing in my courtroom? Exactly. I mean, it's her courtroom. Have some respect. So I don't know what she's doing or what her reasons are, but I'm working on a video, like those little clips I make, and it's gonna be Judge Beverly's courtroom. Like, this is her courtroom. She's allowing it, and everybody sees what is allowed to happen in her courtroom. So that takes her respect away as well, because everybody's watching it. She's not doing this, hiding. Everybody's watching it.
I just gave the pets the meds, Mazza. I'm all
that's good. They're all good to go. That's great. Yeah.
How many you have right now?
I have 2 here. One mine and one somebody else's, and he's on seizure meds, so I had to do it right at 8 p.m. And I just got it's funny because he's been laying patiently. And all of a sudden, he looked up, and I'm like, "Oh, he knows he needs his meds right now."
He's like, "Where are my meds, dude? What happens if he has a seizure? Do you know what to do?"
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Knock on wood.
I'll freak out.
He's been doing good.
He took his meds.
He's on new
meds.
He's doing good. He's got new meds, and they've been working, and so hopefully.
It's not easy to take care of dogs. I thought of you the other day. I took 2 little dogs, so I had my dog plus 2 for like 4 days. Yeah. Walking 3 dogs and entertaining them. I was like, wow, how does Mike do that?
It's you got to make sure you can. Sometimes you got to do them individual. Depends. I did a couple group walks today, actually. It really depends on the dogs. Got to make sure it's the right fit. TG, I want to read a couple super chats that came in, and maybe answer them very quickly. I think some of these you can answer very quickly. TG said $10 and said, do you think the bingo selection for alternates was trustworthy, or another shell game like the out of view holes in the body on the hoodie evidence? What do you think, Mazza? TG, do you think the bingo selection for alternates was trustworthy, Mazza.
So yeah, I was happy it was done before the court, but there was a lot of videos pointing attention to number 13 when they were called, and the fact that he just kind of read it real quickly, and it was like, well, he didn't really look at it for more than a split second, and it already kind of determined that this is who the juror that's being selected. Now, my understanding from what I heard, I don't know if this is factual or not, but I'll say what I've heard is, and some people can correct me if I'm right or wrong, or confirm if I'm right or wrong, but it was my understanding that the defense had a chance or an opportunity to look at those numbers after they were called before it was made official. That's what I was to understand. I'll stand by for anybody in the chat that might have more information, but that's what I was to understand, that regardless of whatever controversy we might have thought happened, I believe that the defense was allowed to see that just to observe it. So someone just said correct. So I think that's, like I said, and someone said Bev
Maybe
denied it.
that's true. You know,
Yeah.
what's frustrating is these courts,
Yeah.
like the public perception. Like, I'm supposed to trust that rumor? I don't know. I have no
I know what you mean.
idea.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
I have no idea, and I can't trust these courts because they don't care
Yeah.
about the appearance of impartiality, which is crazy. You think a court, the most important thing is that the public trust your independence. And the fact that this has gotten brought up, and we've seen in other courts in the same district, in the same state, where they do it on camera, you can actually see the tiles get picked and you can see the clerk hold up the number. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult. We can do raffles on you. People do these raffles on social media very transparently. If a YouTuber with no, money really behind them can do it, what can the court do with money and technology behind them? They should be able to do this. I just don't get why they don't.
The defense was asked to see it and denied. Okay, that's very interesting. What's intriguing here is
I
double checked that graph.
Mazza, let me say,
sure,
there was a filing about this.
Okay.
And the judge denied it. And I don't know exactly what the filing was, but I saw the title of it and I said, oh, I know what that filing is about. The judge denied it. So again, we have no idea. We're speculating a lot. But what we do know is that they didn't do it for the public. They didn't show it to us. So I can't trust them. I'm sorry I can't trust them. I wish I could. Bianca, what do you think?
No, I'm with you guys. I mean, I believe she denied it because she doesn't have any worries about it. Whatever she can do to further the prosecution on this case, she has been doing. I mean, she has been blatant about the bias. I'm sorry, I don't like to accuse anybody of anything, but the reason why I say that is because I literally spent hours clipping her decisions, like clipping her treatment of the defense and the defendant. And, like, do you think this is funny, Miss Reed? I mean, come on, the lady. I did a mock closing statement, right? Because I'm bored, and I did a mock closing statement. And one of the things I said was like, I wanted to honor Mr. O'Keefe and to call the jury to join me in the indignation of how this investigation was poor, and he deserved better. But I also said on that night of January 29, not only we had a tragic death of Mr. O'Keefe, a fallen police officer, but also Karen Reed's life pretty much ended. All her savings were spent. Her job, she can't work. She has to completely devote herself to her defense. Her health probably deteriorated. The stress level, the sleepless nights, and this has been going on for years now. So not only, yes, she did have a feeling, a desire to speak up, but then she has this judge that treats her like she's already guilty from day one, that just has this bias in her face. So do I doubt that she denied transparency on selecting the jury? No, it doesn't surprise me at all. That's her courtroom, and anything can happen in her courtroom.
We got two super chats. I'm going to post in a row and then ask for maybe some commentary here. Paula Howell says she was driving a police officer who didn't second guess getting in a car with her driving. And then thank you, Paula, for the super chat. And Hans Gruber says, imagine getting charged for an OUI 3.5 years later. Mazza, you want to comment on either one of those super chats?
Yeah, I can't imagine getting charged for that 3.5 years later. That'd be something that they should know about already. Hey, we breathalyzed her, and this is what she came out as, and that's case closed. It's not like I said, everything here is not normal, to say the least.
Definitely not. And then this one came in. Anna says, Mike, this time the defense would insist on polling the jury. I hope so. But I feel like it shouldn't be up to them. The judge should have made it easy just so that we know the results in writing. I mean, it shouldn't be pulling teeth. What do you, I see Mazza gesturing and I see Bianca. We'll go with Mazza first and then Bianca. What do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that was my impression of last year. Was someone that debated me online. They were an anti-Karen Reed person, of course, and they said, well, the defense should have asked to poll the jury. Well, at the same time, the judge is like, oh, I'm declaring a mistrial. Get the jury out of here and on the bus and out the door quickly. Boom, boom, boom. It's all over. Here they are, and they're here 1 second and gone the next, and it's all over. It was like a wrestling match where they come out there and hit Stone Cold over the head with a chair, and Vince McMahon's running out of the building with the title belt. Saying you don't have the title anymore. It was kind of like Breakdown 98, against The Undertaker and Kane. Use a wrestling reference if anybody actually gets that. I don't know. But
I do.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. It was just bing, bang, boom. They're gone and out the door. And there we go. And that's what I'm worried about this time. And I think the defense will be ready to hit that red button on their desk. Not that one exists, but per se, and stand up and say, we want him to poll, but, does she deny it? Does she deny it? That's the concern I have, because like people are saying, they wanted to see the jurors that were alternate numbers, and they got denied on that. And it turns out juror number 13 is listed on this graph that I had up earlier as visibly favorable. And that was the first one. I think that was the one that was controversial. Juror number 13, step down. Buckle up.
I love that you brought up the WWE, because even if people don't know the exact match or whatever you're talking about, that's like just a WWE common ending where the bad guy comes out. Sometimes they come out from the apron, sometimes they pull something out, an object, or someone's randomly gets their attention. It's always and then the bad guy runs away with the belt. It's like so funny.
Oh my goodness,
that's exactly what it's like in court. It is with, Bev Canone after the jury. It just first trial. That was just exactly how it went down. Bianca, you want to add anything to this conversation, the super chat?
Yeah, just real quick. And not only that, I believe last year they didn't sign the form either. The foreman didn't completely complete the form and signed it. And I've never seen any type of documentation or anything in that would be acceptable, that the judge wouldn't say, okay, guys, that's your verdict. Great. I need you to complete the form. And, to make sure we're going to pull the jury, we see it all the time, right? I don't know if she can deny the defense if they ask for it, but I would absolutely require the signed form. And I would have broken down the verdict slips like Mazza was doing here right before I came in. I would have put it in a screen for the jury, and I would have gone over with them. This is the first charge, guys. In order to find her guilty, the Commonwealth would have to prove in this, and this. If there is no collision, as you guys saw from our experts, blah, 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 has to be not guilty, etc. So I would go through every single one, because those forms are so confusing. The judge doesn't cooperate. She's not trying to clarify, and she's taking verdicts without even any signatures. So, they have to be really on top of this time.
Great discussion tonight. We got a few more super chats I want to just throw up on the screen. I want to thank Tammy Lynn Arts for becoming a new YouTube member. Very much appreciated. I also want to thank Brenda S. and Terry S. tonight for gifting the Young Jerks memberships. That's awesome. I love when you do that. Thank you so much. Potentially Criminal Sean, he's been a guest on the show. He's a criminal defense attorney from Ohio, I believe it is. He's great. People should definitely check him out. Thank you for sending the super chat. He says, fingers crossed for some celebrating this time tomorrow. I hope so, Sean. I hope so. Potentially Criminal is his channel. Check him out. Thank you to Sally Port.
I love the names they come up with.
The names are amazing. Yeah. This is D-Lo is at $9.99 and says there is so much reasonable doubt that it should be a quick not guilty to me. I've been worrying they voted guilty, but let Karen have Father's Day with her dad before announcing it tomorrow. Free Karen Reed. I don't think they voted guilty. No way. But I get it. I'd say D-Lo, think more positive. Have more faith. Keep praying. keep positive thoughts, and
She said not
ju-
guilty though.
yeah, yeah, and think
Yeah.
not guilty, and maybe find something fun to do to keep your mind off of it, right? Like treat yourself. I went mega shopping today. I bought like all kinds of food that I probably don't need, but I was like, I'm
Yes.
buying that today. I'm
I
spending
love it.
extra money. I'm buying all the good shit tonight.
Good for you.
Yes.
I got chicken
Yeah.
Yes.
wings in the freezer, my man.
I got chicken wings too. I'm gonna
Oh, I
make them
got 'em. I got
later.
the yeah. I
And I
got
got
the high
chocolate
end chicken
cake.
wings.
Oh
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
got
good.
I get the high end
The
chicken
high
wings
end
that
chicken
night.
wings. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
oh,
go.
they're more expensive. They're like
Yeah.
I don't know.
where do
I
you get
like them
high
though.
end? Where do we get high end chicken wings from? What
Well,
is this?
Market
George Brothers,
Basket, Market
Market Basket.
Basket, like
Oh,
the
I
cheapest
don't
place
have
around.
that. We don't have
Market
that.
Basket's great because their
Yeah,
quality is really, really good, but their
they have
prices
good
are cheaper
quality.
than most supermarkets.
Is
You
that a
know.
regular supermarket? I don't think we have it in
Yes.
Florida.
No, you don't. It's a New
Oh,
England thing. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, we love our Market Basket. What do you have down there? What do you go to Publix?
I go to Publix and we have Costco. You guys have Costco?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
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 Costco's good.
So yeah, today I was actually streaming, so I ordered it delivery. So they delivered Costco chocolate tuxedo cake that I'm gonna
Oh.
have to share because it's like the whole cake. But it's like mousse and it's just so good. Chicken wings. Yeah, so I got some stuff delivered because I was
You don't
feeling
have to share it. You
no,
don't
yeah,
have to
no,
share.
the same thing, and it was like I was feeling the same way you were. I'm like, I wanna buy some delicious food and just treat myself today. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be here, really, because it's good to share this positive vibe with you guys. Because I don't know you guys in person, but I feel like watching you and through like
Yeah.
2 years, I'm like, we are all together on this, and it's great that you guys are there, able to support them. You guys met the family, right? The parents,
Yes. Oh
parents.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they're so
Several
Yeah.
cute.
times.
Very wonderful people. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would have
they are.
loved to hug them. Oh,
Yeah.
they're so
Oh,
cute. Yeah, happy
I wish
Father's
we could get
Day.
you up. You have time to come up? We'll make it happen. You can get up here.
I
Or maybe you
can't
come to
because
one of
of
the
the
parties.
dog. The dog,
Oh, the dog. You have a car? Drive. Drive for the
To
dog.
Canton, to Massachusetts? I know, I would
Maybe not
fly.
for court, but for yeah, I get it.
But I'm afraid to
Yeah.
go to Canton because what if something happens to me and then a cop is like talking to me and then he takes me and I can't do anything about it for 3 years? I don't
Oh
know.
no,
I
I
don't
know.
trust the cops over there.
I get it. I get it. And I get caring about animals. That's why I don't make it as much too. I'm always taking care of the dogs. I love it. Um, Let me read a couple more super chats. This was entry required since SEK 50. I think that's Kroners. I'm not sure. Says Dr. Wolf's low cost novel, optofluidic smart glass technology, peer reviewed thesis plus diffuser video with red lights and yields planted evidence for me.
Huh?
I don't even know what that one means. What do you think?
Maz is the smartest one. Go ahead, Maz.
Yeah,
You
it's
take this.
a little bit technical here. I'm gonna have to read this thing 3 times before I can quantify this super chat. But yeah,
We're reading it again.
Low
it's great.
cost.
It's whatever this is. Basically he's saying Dr. Wolf's. Oh yeah. He is greater. It's greater than
Wow.
yielded planted evidence for me. Peer-reviewed thesis plus differentiated video with red lights. I think he's just talking about the technology that Dr. Wolf used. He or she, Dr. Wolf had used, and then the low cost yields planted evidence to me. So I think what they're trying to say here is that all this technology proved that there was yields planted evidence. So I guess that's what the super chat's about. Sorry.
Maybe it's
No,
greater
this
than
is
the
like
planet.
Oh, greater than
encrypted
planted
super
evidence.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he's basically saying maybe about the defense. Like those
Yeah.
experts were so good, you didn't need to get into Proctor and all that other crap. Really, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
What do you
I
guys
think
think
people
about that? Do you think they should have called Proctor?
for the longest time I did,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm okay with it. Now I feel
Yeah.
like, I mean, still at the same time, I think it would have been great. I think it would have been helpful, but I think sometimes for some juries it gets to be too much. And then
Okay.
they focus on that and trying to solve what could have happened. Maybe it wasn't corruption. Maybe blah blah blah. And I think the last jury kind of tried to do that. They tried to solve it, not even based on anyone's testimony on either side.
Yeah.
So I think simplifying it and just saying, hey, this is the science. If Karen didn't there was a retired DEA agent who posted today. He said if the car didn't hit,
You must have quit.
that's it. It's like
Well,
it's that simple. So let's keep it that simple because some people are now programmed to never believe in a conspiracy theory. And I get it because a lot of these conspiracy theory people are nuts and they push it that just isn't backed up by any science or evidence. But occasionally there are actually real conspiracies. I mean, we had one in Massachusetts where the FBI was working with a lead gangster called Whitey Bulger, so conspiracies do exist. They do happen, but you just got to make sure it's a real thing. And this, I think it was real. I mean, it's hard to prove. I think the easier thing to prove is what they ran on, which was Karen didn't hit him. So, what do you think? What do you think, Bianca, on this? I feel like you feel like Proctor should have got called because I kind of heard you say that earlier, I believe.
Yeah, I did say it. No, go Mazza. You're gonna say
well, thank
something.
you.
I'll talk right after you. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, not calling Proctor was fine because in the closing argument, Alan Jackson says the lead investigator wasn't even called by the prosecution as a witness in this case. What does that tell you? He kind of said something of that nature in his closing argument. I think basically not having that lead investigator ever called by the prosecution tells you something, and I think the defense, by not calling him either, proved another point. Where's the lead investigator? We're trying to put a woman away for murder, and there's no lead investigator called. And beyond that, even the Massachusetts State Police have disavowed the guy because they fired him. That's all you needed. You wouldn't even needed any of his testimony to say that before the jury. Where is your lead investigator? If your lead investigator is not there, then what do you really got?
He got fired for that case too. Like he said that too.
Correct.
Like it's not like something outside this case. It was for this case was the reason he got fired. And I agree. Like by having him not there, you're not focused on what he said or what the alternatives are. The focus on the jury's mind is, like you said, he's not there. Like that's always going to be their focus is that he didn't show up. Never mind, like, could there be an alternative story? The story is always going to be in their heads. He didn't show up. They didn't want him there. They didn't trust that they could put him on the stand. I think that's a really great point, Mazza. What do you think, Bianca? Are you moved?
I'm no, I'm moved. Let's say, for example, okay, so they didn't call Proctor. What I would have done, so the thing is, I keep thinking, what about the person that is sitting there thinking, I want to vote guilty. I'm the defense attorney. I have to think worst case scenario. I have to convince that person, right? They were probably thinking, what about the tail light pieces? Well, everything was there. The shoe was there. The hat was there. The tail light pieces were there. There's evidence. That is what the state is presenting. That's the evidence, right? We are questioning the evidence, and it's hard for normal people to question authority. Like we question authority outside of their presence, but when we like see a cop outside, or when we meet somebody, we're like, oh, thank you for your service, officer, or thank you for your service, military and stuff. We don't automatically think conspiracy. So if you were me, I'm a very visual person. I would have, during the closing statement, when I was talking about, I did that on my mock closing statement. Like I emphasized the investigation, and I would then put his text messages like at the specific times. For example, I would be talking about the medical examiner, Dr. Scorbello's testimony, and I would emphasize this is the first piece of big reasonable doubt that you have in front of you, jury. The doctor that has gone to school and has conducted many autopsies, she could not determine this death was a homicide. Besides that, she came here and confirmed that it was not consistent with a car collision because she would expect to see bruises and lower body extremity injuries, etc., etc. And look at this text message when we talk to you guys about the investigation from the lead investigator. He's saying here she's a whack job. He's saying his friends from the police department are saying rookie move, not going there and getting that homicide determination. So this shows you that the lead investigator believes he has influence over the medical examiner determination. So you guys don't think there is a possibility of corruption here? We have more evidence of it than not having it. And then I would continue on that type of, because I think that the person sitting there, that if there is a person sitting there thinking guilty, they're heavily relying on two things: Karen Reed's statements and the pieces of taillight found, right? So I would emphasize the morning that Mr. O'Keefe was found, there were two things found on the snow: blood pieces of blood spots and the glass. Nothing else was there. There were no 47 pieces of tail light. There was no hat. There was no shoe. Nothing. Everything was found by Michael Proctor, and they did say that, but visually, and just keep hitting on that. And besides that, the only thing that I said before was about the emotional appeal of having Proctor there. But I understand, I respect the defense more than I could ever, express. And that's the only thing I would just try to keep linking, because for a lot of people it's hard to get over that fact. The people who are anti Karen Reed, they keep hitting on this. Well, but what the things were there, her car reversed. She said she might have hit him. What people don't. And another thing Brandon said that surprised me. He was kind of like saying, I don't recall the exact phrase, but during his closing statement, he said something about the defense did not show that or something. Like he was burden shifting to the defense, and then he's like, we didn't need to call Michael Proctor. It's just okay. Maybe without Michael Proctor, I would just try to keep connecting the level of his corruption and the level of his bias, like visually. Like, here it is, jury. Again, you don't think this 47 pieces could have been planted, but look at what he was saying. Look at what he was doing. And that's all I can say, really.
You both make great points on this. I don't think there's actually a right answer on it, but I love that you both are compelling, because I feel like both of you are correct in certain respects. Like so I love the discussion so far tonight. We've been going almost 2 hours. I think Mazza's probably going to drop off.
Yeah.
I want to thank Mazza for being here
Thank
tonight.
you, Mike.
Yeah, congratulations on your award, and people voting for you
Congratulations.
for it, and thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sure
Nice.
that's not the only award you've ever won. I think you probably won some
Well,
sports awards
sports
back in the day.
awards. Yes, this is my
Yeah,
first. This is my first media award. I haven't won a sports award in
yeah.
probably, well, the last championship I won in sports, I think, was 10 years ago in a men's basketball rec league. We went undefeated one year, 12-0. I was a starting center, but yeah, it's probably, I think it was 2012, 2013. So I think it was the winner of 2012, 2013. In fact, that's a long time ago now. But it's my first media award, and then I got another one. I won best guest on LTL. I got another award coming my way. But
You
Mike, I
did
can't
that
thank
too?
you.
He's doing
Yeah,
that too? I love it.
yeah, Brian's got me an award. He just announced it the other day. He goes, I got an award here for you that I'm going to be giving you soon for best guest. So I'm thankful
Did
for
he
that as
come
well.
up with that after Mike came up with that?
I think he had, when he was getting Aiden an award for YouTube, I think he had
Yeah,
decided to give me
yeah.
best guest. Yeah. So
That's
I think it was
awesome.
It
organically
doesn't
done. Yeah.
matter. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I think
Yeah.
it's well deserved.
Yeah.
LTL
Appreciate
does
it.
great work, and you're a great guest on both of these shows, and we
I'll
both
say,
appreciate you.
Mike, thank you so much. And I'll say this too. I got this award from you the other day, and it meant a lot to me. This is an award that's, sports achievements always great. I've won my share of team awards. And I got a coaches award one year in my college years, and that meant a lot to me. But this meant a lot to me too, because it just does. It's to me, it just represents for me the dedication I've had on your program, but just the dedication that I've had for trying to free Karen Reed. And it just means to me, some people say, what does it mean to you? And it's like, it means a lot to me. I mean, to me, I even sat there on the sidewalk in that video, and I was just like, wow, this is just awesome. Um,
You
it
know what's
is.
great about it
Yeah.
too is the people watching it were just as excited as you and I were,
Yeah.
and
Right.
whether at home or on the sidewalk, and they're the ones that made it happen. Like, it
Yeah.
meant a lot to them to vote on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they picked you.
That's
They
right.
saw
Yeah.
the value of what you did on this show for a year. There
Mm.
were over 100 guests on the show that year,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
and thank you, Mazza, for everything you're doing. You
Thank you,
you
Mike.
definitely deserve it, both from Mazza, I mean from LTL and myself.
Yeah.
Congratulations, and many more accolades for you, my friend. And
Thank you.
you're also, I gotta say, a very loyal friend. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you as a friend.
Likewise.
Beyond the work, I love the work that you do, but I also like your friendship.
Thank you.
So
Likewise.
thank you so much, Mazza Media. I'm glad to I'm glad that we're buddies, and I'm glad that we continue working for the last 2 years on this.
Yeah.
And can't wait to see what happens going forward in the future. Have yourself your great rest of your weekend and
Thank
a
you, Mike.
great Monday, Mr. Mazza Media.
You too, sir. Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
You too.
Good evening, Mazza. He's
Oh,
probably
I
gonna
love
get
you, man.
best voice pretty soon.
Yes, doesn't he? He
Yeah,
does.
has such a smooth, like calming voice, like I could just listen to him reading a book or something for me to go to sleep. It's
We
just
used
so
to say that he
soothing.
sounds like Dr. Drew because his voice is actually very similar to Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
Before he put his face out to the public with a video, he used to be behind the emblem. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people said, "Is he Dr. Drew?" He sounds like the people actually thought he was Dr. Drew, which is hilarious.
I remember some shows like that, and I was like,
Mm.
where's the guy? I want to see it. And then I remember when I saw him, I was like, oh, there's his face.
Yeah, he finally
Yeah,
came out.
yeah, yeah. So
I got a
exciting
few more
week.
super chats.
Yeah,
Lev,
go ahead.
Boston, 1976. His prayers that Karen is acquitted on all counts. I hope so. Thank
Yes.
you. Well, let me make sure I read that right. My eyes are off unless enlarge it. Love Boston, 1976. That's it. Thank you so much, Love Boston, 1976. Also, Terry. Actually, did we read this earlier? We did. I'm getting. Let's bring this one up. Thank you, Terry, again. Bev's White Claw. Then 50. You're a baller, Bev. Bev says, Mike, you are the first YouTuber I watched that was discussing this case. I've donated to many others through the 2 trials, but I don't think I've ever donated to you. So sorry about that. You started it all for me. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Bev's White Claw. I really appreciate that. I don't recall that you've donated to me before. So this is a good one, and I'm glad that you donated to the others too. It makes me feel good that I help the others get some traction. I love helping other YouTubers and creators. And
Yes, you do. That's why I always appreciate it so much. Babs White Clock, come to my channel sometime.
yes, yes. And if you ever want a guest like me or anybody else, let me know.
But my
I'd love
lives
to
are
be a
so
guest on your
small, Mike.
channel
I would
too.
feel I would feel like awkward calling you because my lives are so small. If they're
Yeah.
bigger, like because I know you're busy and you work so hard all the
Yes.
time. I would love to have you anytime, but I'm
We
like,
definitely do.
I'm not gonna bring you to talk to
That's
30
all right.
people, 100
Well,
people.
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll try to bring people over to your channel. And again,
Yeah.
we have you again for anyone watching tonight, especially if you're a first timer. Make sure you follow our guest, Mazza Media. He's on Twitter, on X. He's also got a great YouTube channel. Make sure you follow him on both of those places. And Bianca, with the 3 M's, Bianca, Bianca MMM. Follow her on YouTube and Twitter as well. We have her social media pinned in the chat. And check out Bianca's videos. We played some of them last time. You do some great like productions. I love the mashups. We didn't really get to talk about it tonight. I definitely want to talk about what did you think about Devers? Because she was the Boston police officer. What did you think about her body language
Well, I
and the
had
fact
to
that
do it. I had to make a video right away as soon as I saw her. I mean, just the defiance and the whole. I mean, I made a video and I think the thumbnail was first there was Amber Heard, then came Jennifer McCabe, and now we have Dever because that's the feeling I got from her. Such a immature. First, when I saw her, first impression, I was like, wow, what a beautiful lady, police officer. Let's hear from her. As soon as she started talking, all respect was lost. Not believable at all. I never heard of a false memory before. Somebody's like, no, that's not what you remember. Okay, this is what you remember because you really love your job. You have a great future ahead. So let's do the right thing. And she just recanted her statement, and I don't think she was believable, even if the people were on the Commonwealth side. She was just a terrible. She was a defense's witness, but she was a terrible witness for the Commonwealth. It just showed how corruption is real. It's something possible because there are no rookie police officers being called to the commissioner's office, you know. And her statement was so detailed, which is, I'm sure you heard before. Oh, there's Laferio. She's great.
Thank you.
um,
She look at that, 299.
that's amazing.
She is my biggest whale. Let's call her. I mean, she not just for me, but she's amazing. Not only is she a phenomenal guest, she brings in the numbers on the show, and she brings the content. I love her. She's so fun. She's like, I love that I can when she comes on the show, like she gets spicy, I get spicy. We kind of like it's fun, and she like the way that she kicks into us. I mean, thank you, Nan Laferio. She says, keep showing up. I got to say to her, keep showing up because we love you. Please never stop showing up, Nan. I know you won't, but I just want to say thank you, Nan Gallagher, attorney Nan Gallagher. I love her.
Yeah, she's great. I've watched her on your show before. She's very entertaining, very smart, and is just very valuable and very positive. She's like all in Karen Reed. There's no ifs and buts with her, and very spicy. And I was like, I'm here for it. I love it.
Love it.
But go ahead.
Say if you're ever feeling down, it's like talk to Nan, or talk to you too, Bianca. You're also someone that brings spirits up. That's why I like your shows. I always feel good when I'm watching them. I feel like I learn things. Uh, so you both you like you have a similar kind of style. You know, people like you, and you don't hold it back. You know what I'm saying? You got the fire.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, but Deborah was something else, Mike. I mean, what did you think of her? Did you believe anything she said?
With who?
Deborah,
Oh, Devers? No. I
Deborah,
mean, the only
Deborah,
thing I believed is that she had a meeting
with
with
the
the police
commission.
chief, the
Yeah.
commissioner, and that he said, you know, he basically gave her the wink and the nod, like do what we want, silent, golden handshake type deal, that's what I found believable in her
Yeah, like I,
testimony.
I reenacted a little bit. I was like, "Oh, come in, Officer Deborah. Come in, have a seat. How you doing? You like your job and everything. Everything is doing good. Everybody's treating you well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, we are very proud of you. We see a great future here in the force. We just wanted to check with you, make sure everything is okay. Yeah, no, everything's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chief, for calling me here. Well, yeah, well, we heard that you were talking about the other day with that case. What was that case with that officer? And then her statement was very specific, right? Higgins, I found it very weird that Higgins, who was a witness, was in the garage for a wildly long time. But so we heard that and we just thought it was weird because let me show you something in the camera of the videos that we keep, inverting and missing videos from. Let me show you something. See here, it's impossible that you saw that because you weren't there. You see right here, right here. And then like and we know you want to succeed here. You have a family, right? You have a family, yeah. So exactly, so we're looking for the best, and we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. You see how you couldn't have seen that. And that's it. If you need anything from us, you please let us know. We'll be watching over you and your family. and,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a threat, but in a positive way. And
Did you
have
did,
a
did
great
you
day.
yeah, did you know about this police chief's commissioner's past, too, his story, his life story about how he
No, I don't know anything about him.
I mean,
What is it? Tell me something.
this is wild. This is wild. So he's an undercover police officer in Boston. He's a black man,
Mm-hmm.
and he's chasing a suspect who's a black man.
Mm-hmm.
The white officers come up on him, think he's the actual suspect,
Oh, because
beat
he's
the
on the.
crap out of him, almost kill him, leave him there. They figure out he's a police officer. They leave him there with a broken face,
What a
almost to die
coincidence.
in the cold. They left him in the cold to die, basically. And he didn't rat on them. He ended up suing and getting money, and now he's the police chief. But basically, if you look at him, he's kind of an example of the blue line. Even though he faced the brunt of it, he really didn't snitch, if you know what I'm saying. So considering that, does it even? It's even more kind of like wow, like he was left in the cold, just like John O'Keefe.
That's what I'm thinking. What an insane coincidence. This
I
case is insane. I've never seen so many little things. Everything is something. No day from this case from day one was like normal. It was always something. There's always it's bombastic. It's the case that keeps on giving. And that is another insane thing. I had no idea. And it shows the blue line. And of course, it's the same thing. Like he got beat up by people and they left him in the cold. What other case would we? This is the case. I mean, this is the case. Honestly, I've watched a few trials before, the big ones, OJ Simpson. I've watched the Menendez brothers, like big trials, but I've never, Johnny Depp, I've never watched anything like this.
so
It's
many
like
twists and turns,
so
and it's
many
always like
things.
this Irish Catholic cop cover your own back. It always goes back to that. Like it's just this little clique that runs these police departments. I swear to God, and it's
And
just
they
like
have no fear
Morrissey is the
of
perfect example.
accountability.
Yeah, Morrissey and Bev are just like them. Because
Mhm.
they're from Quincy. You know what I mean? They're like, it's the same clique. It's just so wild. I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. Is there any final thoughts you want to say to the audience tonight? Anything you're promoting? Anything that you have upcoming? Anything maybe you just did that you want people to watch? Tell us how people can keep track of you and just make your final comments tonight, Bianca.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mike. I know I sent you a message today. I thought it was tonight, but it was last year. But I appreciate that you had me anyways. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is be more consistent with YouTube. So I do a live every Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we discuss what happened the week, and we have fun, and we have laughs and stuff. I do release my edited videos, which is what I make little funny things and all related to the case. I recently did a closing mock argument, and I think that you guys should check that out. Make any comments that you want to give me feedback. I did complete that before Alan Jackson's closing, so there were just a few things that, of course, are just a few things that I would have added, but his, of course, it's masterful. I'm not an attorney. I just do these things for fun. So if you guys want, please follow me on X, Facebook, and YouTube, Bianca MMM. I do meditations as well, motivational videos, and I love true crime. So in the true crime, the M stands for mind, and that's what I do. I'll probably be following the Brian Kohlberger case as well. But yeah, and I just really appreciate the opportunity because it's not easy to be on YouTube, and Mike is so awesome for always giving opportunity for people to come into his show. That's how I got to know a lot of other people that I follow as well. So I just just very grateful. Oh, and just to last thing I'll say, let's keep a positive vibe. I don't know what it is about the world, but there is a power. There is like an energy that I was doing like breathing exercises on Friday, just like breathing in light, letting go of any worry, breathing in hope, letting go of any anxiety, just sending Karen positive thoughts, strength for her family who has gone through so much, for the defense team who has done a stellar job, for all the people out there supporting them. May they be safe. Continue to have courage and perseverance because all of the bad things, I believe that God even takes bad things and he transforms them into a good thing. And the best thing that I can see so far is the transparency, the ability that we have to watch what's happening there, and that is creating so much change. So that's my final words. Positive energies. Let's keep it positive for this week. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Somebody asked for your YouTube link. I believe it's pinned at the top of the chat. I'm going to check on that to make sure.
I'll put it
I
in the
know,
chat as well.
yeah, I know Ahmad's posted some links. I think it was to the YouTube. I'll check whether it's her Twitter or YouTube or all of them. But we'll definitely make sure that's up there. If it's not already up there, just check out at the pin at the top of the chat. There was some other thing. Oh, I want to thank you too on the motivation stuff and the breathing, because I think that's another thing besides the body language and your videos that break down things, which I think are phenomenal. I also like the motivation stuff. Like, I think we all need it. Even me, I feel like I'm a pretty positive person. I get shit done, but it's good. Like, I love the way your tone and how you just it just feel good. And I think it we all need more of that. So I think definitely check out Bianca's channel too for the motivation stuff and the breathing. I think breathing is so important. I've at times recently in the last few years sometimes had these little mini panic attacks. I never even knew what they were, and I realized what they were. And I looked up some ways to kind of deal with them, and I realized breathing. And I realized right away, as soon as I start to have that panic attack, breathing. Just the way I breathe ends it immediately. Can you tell us about, like, just quickly about how important breathing is? Because I'm looking into this stuff and I'm realizing it is very helpful for mental health and physical health. And just to have those skills, especially when things get tense and we feel that kind of panic and anxiety, and kind of how to get rid of it and get to a more positive place. How does breathing work? How do you kind of explain that to people?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I totally identify with you with the anxiety thing and the mini panic attacks. I also went through some of those experiences, and I had to learn. I had to learn about breathing and meditation. And everybody, we just think, what do you mean learning about breathing? Everybody breathes all the time. We
No.
have to. We're humans. But I ask you this: how many times do you take a deep breath? Like a deep breath that goes through your nose, all the way down your throat. You go through your chest, go to your diaphragm, all the way to the bottom of your stomach. And then when you release it, your whole body, muscles, shoulders, you release the tension. We don't do that a lot. And that is something that has to be done intentionally, because when you focus on the breathing and the oxygen coming in, and you can even focus on where you want to send the oxygen to. Like, I'm sending the oxygen to the parts of the body that are most tense. And when I breathe out, I'm going to relax those parts, right? So when we start doing that, it produces so many things in the body, mind, and even spirits. So a few of the benefits that I can think of just from the top of my head of mindfulness, which is focusing on the present, simply focusing on the breath coming in and out, breath coming in, hold, release. That is a practice of mindfulness. It's a type of meditation. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to levitate, none of that. It lowers cortisol, which is the stress hormone, right? Takes you off of the fight and flight mode, which is what tenses our shoulders up, and we're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's fine to have stress. It's fine to have stress, to work hard, to go to the gym, but our body also needs to release that cortisol hormone, which causes other problems. It lowers your blood pressure. It rewires your brain with time. It creates more neurons. It helps you to have more positive emotions. It regulates our emotions. It helps us to have more compassion, more empathy. It helps us to have better sleep. It helps us to physical. It's just, there's so many benefits. I sometimes, right before I do a meditation, like when you go to my channel and you see meditation for worry or anger, a lot of times I start with the benefits, because I also am like, what am I getting out of this? Why am I going to spend 5 minutes doing this breathing? And I just say all the benefits, because with time, and as you just get over that little hurdle we have in the beginning, oh, I can't sit still, I can't focus on that. When you just get out of there, it's just, there's a whole world, a whole world of meditation, of mindfulness, and just breathing and relaxing and learning how to allow yourself to have that moments, that small 1 to 5 minutes a day, that you're just teaching yourself that it is okay to take a break, it is okay to relax. And when you have more that you give to yourself and you learn how to care for yourself, you just make so much space to give more to your family, to your coworkers, and all the other priorities that we have in life. So I think it's very valuable, and I love that you're doing that already in your own life, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's invaluable information for a lot of people. And this world has, like you said, it's a lot of anxiety out there, whether it's about the Karen Reed case or people's personal situations or the cost of living. I mean, the cost of living for young people has gone up through the roof. There's a lot of issues in this world. So, and
Yeah.
social media doesn't always help. Sometimes we compare each other to other people. It's not healthy. So, anything
Yeah.
we can do to kind of self-medicate like in a healthy way,
Healthy,
not with
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
this
because
isn't
a
even
lot of people,
medication. This is like
a lot
breathing.
of people resort to drugs, alcohol,
Right. Which makes
addiction to
sense. I
social
mean,
media, to all kinds of things.
you
And
need your relief. That's why people
we need
smoke a lot of
relief.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
relief, and that is a healthy way, like you said, to learn, to adapt, and you can get other healthy habits. But I had to learn because we're not taught that. We're not
No, we're
taught
not.
that type of stuff in school. It's just like, okay, I feel all this, how do I get it out? And then people are like, okay, have a drink, have this, have that, and you're like, okay, I'll do this. But if it becomes a problem, then your whole life is ruined because you just didn't have the guidance. And thank God that today we're so much more aware of the necessity for mental health and good practices.
Like, I use a little cannabis, and I think it's helpful, but it's limited. Like, it's a very limited thing where when I have those little those, like I said,
Exactly.
like mini
Uh-huh.
panic
Yeah.
attack, the cannabis ain't helping me there. You know what's
Mm-hmm.
helping me? Like you said, the breathing. If I get my breathing under, it's over. It's like, so this is such a it's amazing. I think people really have to look into the breathing stuff a little more and learn how to use it. It's a nice little tool in 5 minutes to reset everything. I love it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you, Bianca, for sharing it and making it sound so good too. The way that you present is amazing. I'm so thankful that you're back on the show tonight. I want everyone to make sure they check out Bianca, check out her YouTube, check out those videos. The review, people are telling me it's amazing what the closing
The
remarks that you
closing
gave.
statement. Yes.
Yeah. So I want to check that out too, and check out all our content, please, people. Make sure you like it. Go like it and subscribe and all that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Nan said the Brennan should try it because he is full of hot air, which is hilarious.
Oh, Brandon, I can't with the teeth.
No, that
He
will
just
be the
looks so
best comment
angry.
to end on. That will be the best comment for you to end on. You got the best comment from Laferio.
You're saying, wait, Lawfare, are you saying Brandon should come to my channel? Oh my
Yeah, you
gosh.
might have to. You might have to. Maybe need some help. And there's one of our mods, Scott McGinnis. He just posted it up there. That's the YouTube channel for everybody. If you just want to search it, but we're gonna pin it in the chat as well. But for anyone watching after the fact, anywhere else, if you're on Twitter, Facebook, etc., that's the YouTube. Follow Bianca. Thank you so much, Bianca. You have a great night.
Thank you, you too. See you next time.
See you next time. We're the Young Jerks. That was a fabulous Bianca. We had Mazza Media tonight. We have our great moderation team. And I want to thank the dudes for listening. I don't think anyone got kicked out. I'll have to check with the mods after. But I saw like a warning went out. I saw one of the ladies in the chat sent the warning out to one of the dudes. And I noticed that sometimes some of our dudes cross the line. I don't want to block people. I tell my mod team to do light moderation, but I leave it up to them. And especially because they're ladies and they're very savvy with this stuff, they know what the line is, and I just want to back them up all the time. And I'm very thankful for my moderators. So I want to thank Jen O, Stephanie, Sarah, and Shock and Horror, who I'm seeing right now. MJ, I love MJ. Thank you so much, MJ. MJ isn't always around as much. She's got a lot of responsibilities. Her granddaughter, Ari, I want to wish her the best as well. She's got a little bit of a broken bone. Yeah, and Scott McGinnis just posted this as well. Thank you to all our mod team. Can't thank them enough. We have a great moderation team. I'm gonna read a couple more super chats, and I might play a little more audio too. I may talk about the rest of the week here. Let me just first things first. I want to make sure that we do have her. Yeah, we have it linked up. Sarah and Shock and Horror. We have it on the YouTube pinned at the top of the chat. I want to thank Sarah and Shock and Horror for pinning that up earlier as well. And again, I want to thank LaFerio and some of the other. We had another $50 super chat tonight from Stanya. Gores. Thank you so much. She says, Bev pulled a fast one on the back of the hoodie. Cuts motion decision brought up by Bob. In the moment, Bev blew Bob off. Dumbed down statement for the jury. Nothing of Hank's era. Bob requested more. She said later at a charging conference, then nothing. Then nothing. What the heck? I know, right? She's always covering for them. Like Bianca said tonight, you didn't object. I mean, that shows it right there, right? That was such a good. That's why I love Bianca and Mazza tonight. They were both phenomenal guests. That was a great comment as well, Stanya. You broke it down perfectly, and I got to thank you so much. I don't think I've seen a super chat from you before. Maybe I did miss it in the past, but I remember this one. $50. Great comment. Great super chat. Very much appreciated. I also want to thank Sherry D, who just gifted 5 more Young Jerks memberships. She does that a lot. Thank you so much, Sherry D. How long is Hank's sham sandwich? Free Karen Reeds at $5 says the OUI was requested by the defense to try and avoid another hung jury and give them a low charge if they felt she should be charged with something. Absolutely. I mean, I think the defense wanted that because of that. You know, if it's a split jury, this is the way you can get a verdict and get the not guilty on the serious murder charges. Definitely feel like that was there. And I think that Karen, obviously, and Turtle Boy ran the poll yesterday. The audience felt the same way that Karen would be better off with a guilty verdict on the OUI versus a hung jury this time. And like I said, I think either one of those is a win for Karen. Obviously, not guilty on all charges is the best thing of all, but hung jury or, or conviction on an OUI is much better for the defense than the prosecution. It's still a loss for the prosecution. The only way the prosecution wins is if they get a conviction on one of the major charges. And I don't see that happening. This is a good question. This is what we were talking about earlier. We don't know what numbers were put in. We didn't get to see any of it in terms of who picked the jurors, that little lottery thing that they do where they pick out the tiles. We didn't get to see any of it. That's what we wanted. We wanted some transparency. The defense wanted to see the tiles. The public wanted to see the tiles. We wanted to see them when they were picked out so that we saw them, so that there's no questions. And I don't understand why they want the public to doubt them. Because they don't care. They get away with anything, apparently. I mean, that's the message that's being sent here. Did I miss any more? Let's go to Linda. Linda, the AC Ninja, said 5 pounds, says, go back and watch the bingo selection again. He called out seat numbers for the first 2 and juror numbers for the rest. That's funny. That would be if that's the case. Wow. Wow. Is that true? I'm going to have to go back and watch that now. That would be Texas Prime said $10. I have said from the beginning that the most frightening part of this trial and the last one is that Bev is not only biased, but doesn't care that she appears biased. I know. These people just don't care. They don't care. That's such a good point, Texas Prime. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, D'Lo says there's so much reasonable doubt. Absolutely. This should be quick. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think I got all the super chats. I'm just going back and just checking a couple more. Thank you for hanging out with me. Sherry D, been a member for 13 months. You rule. She says the Young Jerks believes in corruptions, conspiracies. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Love Jan O'Keefe. Yeah, of course they happen. I just don't believe them without evidence or proof, right? You got to have something. Texas Prime said $10 more. Says Mark Garrigus and Adam Carolla have been talking about this case on their podcast, Reasonable Doubt. They are free Karen Reed. Garagos has said it is a witch hunt and that Bev is instantly biased. Wow. It's interesting. A lot of celebs are coming out. I actually got the scoop. I don't know if you folks saw it, but I was sent a video from a follower, supporter, viewer who attended recently a Beach Boys concert. And there had been some question about John Stamos. I guess he had been on Emily Baker's streams, posting some super chats to her, and people were questioning whether it was the real uh, John Stamos, the actor who played. He was on the sitcom, the big comedy sitcom with the Olsen twins, Full House. He's also a musician. He started back in the day when I was watching the soap operas with my mom. General Hospital, he was Blackie. Remember, he played the drums and he ended up going to prison for manslaughter. It's ironic. He's also had some legal problems with some his own OUIs, apparently, John Stamos. So he's taken a little heat, but he's been watching the trial. He talked about it at a recent The Beach Boys show concert in Lowell, Massachusetts, and said that he was not only addicted to watching the Karen Reed trial, that he had invited her to the Beach Boys concert in Lowell, but that she wasn't there. She hadn't attended. But apparently, he is a big supporter. And we do have that video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to try to throw it up. I thought I had it up earlier. Maybe I changed it when I had Mazza. Hold on one second. Let me find that video again. But I'm going to play that if you haven't seen it yet. And I'm also going to probably end the show maybe with my last, if I can find it on podcast. I should have been set this up earlier. I'm sorry. Let's just play this little clip though. If you haven't seen it, I want people to take a look at this. I thought it was great. This guy, and I know some people question whether he's still a big star. He is definitely a big star. And the reason I know this is as soon as I posted it, especially on Facebook and Twitter, our numbers just went like, I mean, we're already way up, obviously, during the Karen Reed trial right now. We're at the prime time, but this thing like rocketed us up. I've picked up so many new followers and subscribers, especially on Facebook and X Twitter. He is very popular, this guy. So I'm gonna throw that up right now if you haven't seen it. Oh, here it is. I do have it. See, I had it the whole time. I was looking for it. I had it right there. Watch this again. We're gonna start from the beginning. This is John Stamos. For the Grace Curley thing, but I'm having trouble finding it from the last show we did. Please, if you can, check out the Grace Curley show on Fridays. I've been a regular guest, 1 p.m. Heard on RKO 680 AM. You can also follow Grace on Rumble. They're also on Facebook under the Howie Carr Radio Network. You can watch it there as well. Grace is also on Twitter. Definitely follow Grace Curley. And again, I want to thank Howie Carr and the mailroom manager. It's always fun hanging out with them. I never thought I'd be hanging out with Howie Carr. I got to say, I really enjoy it. I love Howie. One of the biggest things I say a lot here is I didn't come here to be made sport of, and that's ripping off Howie. Like that I got some respect and love for Howie when I've been ripping off his phrases for years. I really have. God bless Howie Carr. Even though we don't agree on a lot of things, we agree on many things, which is the corruption. And I love how he digs in locally. I love Howie for the local coverage, the local stories, the stuff that he did with the mafia and the mob. Those books are fascinating. God bless Howie Carr. All right, I'm gonna head out. What I'm gonna say to wrap it up tonight. I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to kind of try to keep an eye on court tomorrow, see what's going on. I might be streaming court if something pops off. If we see something happen, I'm going to keep an eye out. I'm definitely walking some customer dogs tomorrow in the afternoon. If there hasn't been a verdict early, if there's a verdict at noon, I'm probably not going to the court because I'm not going to get there till probably 3:34. So we'll see. I may drive to court tomorrow afternoon. I'm hoping to. We'll see what happens, and the rest of the week as well. I'm just going to keep things open. I know a lot of people want to see Betero tonight, and probably Betero tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. I don't want to be asking Betero to do shows over and over again. He's got a lot of other requests, and I definitely intend to have him on soon again and invite him back on. I'm looking forward to having him on again, but we'll see what happens. Things are kind of up in the air right now for the rest of the week because I just don't know. It really depends on the verdict watch. I don't want to set anything in stone because I really don't know where I'm going to be and what I'm doing. I'm just going to be kind of following like everyone else. So just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on our Twitter and our YouTube, especially. Make sure you subscribe and like and follow us and check it out, especially at night. Sometimes I'll just decide to do a show last minute. I don't have any set schedule. So make sure you check a couple times a day to see if we're maybe doing a show that night, especially if you want to be there for the next Betero show, because I'm definitely going to be inviting him back on the show. I'm just not sure when. And I know that's the biggest thing people always ask me, when's Betero coming back? If you don't ask, when's Mazza coming back? Well, we got Mazza in tonight, and we'll be hoping to have Betero again this week. Again, I want to thank Bianca so much for being here tonight. I love her. She's phenomenal. And I also want to thank my friend Mazza Media. And it was great to check in with all of you in the community as well. And my moderators, the ladies in the chat, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Have a great night. Rest of your week. Stay positive. Deep breathing. We'll see you soon, everybody. Love you. Have a great night. Good night, everybody.